Okay, are we ready?
I'm ready.
Allison, are you all set?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the City of Gloucester Licensing Board meeting of August 9th, 2022, and the time is 6:30 p.m. This is a remote meeting. This meeting is recorded by video and audio in accordance with the state open meeting law pursuant to section 20 of chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the Gloucester Licensing Board during this and future meetings will be by roll call vote. If you're calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you're watching on a computer or device, there is a raise hand button at the bottom of your screen that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options during oral communications to be recognized to speak, and also during individual public hearings that are scheduled for tonight. As I said, this meeting is being recorded by Zoom, and also there will be minutes taken of this meeting. The Zoom meeting is usually available on the City of Gloucester's website within 24 hours. So our first order of business is introduction of licensing board members. I'll start. I am Melissa Prince of the licensing board.
John Lemerand.
John Orlando.
Allison.
Oh, Allison Battle.
Thank you. And joining us tonight is also Suzanne Egan, City Solicitor for the City of Gloucester. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Welcome
Hello.
back to Gloucester.
Yes, welcome back.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
So I am going to just make a couple of statements before I start our meeting tonight. I'm not sure if we're going to have any more weather issues tonight, but if for some reason any of us lose our internet or can't be part of the meeting, we are going to stop the meeting. We can try to join by a different way if needed, but if we can't have all members here, and if we can't have access to the public, we're not going to continue the meeting. I'm not sure if there's any thunderstorms or anything coming our way, but just in case, I just wanted to make that point. We do have a very large agenda tonight, could potentially be a long meeting. Also, our agenda is listed in an order that may not occur tonight. Some matters might be taken out of order and heard before others. So not sure where those who are watching are on the agenda, but we're going to try to combine some businesses so that we can save time during the meeting. Note that the new application process is going to be at the end of the meeting. So we're going to try to move as quickly and efficiently as we can through the business that's before us tonight. Before we start, I just want to give a huge shout out to Allison Battle for putting this meeting together tonight. There's a lot of work involved for what we're going to be addressing tonight. And also thanks to Susan Egan, our city solicitor, for help guiding us and assisting us through some of the decisions that we're going to make tonight as well. John and John, I thank you both for being pretty prepared for this meeting tonight. You had some legal reading to do, and I know you've both done outreach to the community and talk with people, so I believe we're well represented to make the decisions that we are going to make tonight and move through the process. I do too also want to give a big shout out to Bill Sanborn. He's been very helpful to me over the past couple of days. He's our building inspector and was able to answer some questions that I had about some matters that are before us tonight as well. There's also 2 public hearings that are not going to be held tonight and removed from the agenda. One is the alteration of licensed premise for J&N Ventures LLC, DBA Cape Ann Lanes, 53 Gloucester Ave. Their hearing is being rescheduled. And also regarding Declan's application for the new proposed Section 12 license, unfortunately, we hit a little snag with the Gloucester Daily Times, and their public hearing was not published in the newspaper. So tonight, with regard to Declan's, we are going to start the conversation, but we are going to hold the public hearing next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. so that the public has a chance to weigh in on their opinion for that particular application. So because of that, we will not have a decision tonight on who will be awarded the new license. That will come next Tuesday at 6:30. But we are going to do our best to get through the other public hearings that are scheduled and come back to Declan's next Tuesday. And then at that point, the board will be prepared to make a decision. Also note that all three members are here tonight, and all three members are required to hear all of those new applications in order to make a decision. So we've all committed to being here tonight and next Tuesday as well to make that decision regarding the award of the Section 12 license. And with that being said, I'm going to move on to public comment. We currently have 19 attendees. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak to the licensing board regarding a matter that is not scheduled for public hearing tonight? If you are want to address the licensing board, please raise your hand or press *9. However, if your comment or question or statement is in regard to a public hearing tonight, please refrain until that public hearing is opened. So with that being said, is there anyone here that would like to address the licensing board on a matter? Please raise your hand or press *9. And I do not see anyone requesting to speak. So our first order of business is a common victual license renewal for Bass Rocks Beach Club, 17 Nautilus Road. So Allison, they filed all the proper paperwork?
Yes.
Okay, and it's on the online system. Does anyone, John, do you have any questions regarding this application? I don't believe they're here. Usually we don't require the common vics to be present. I don't see anyone raising their hand from Bass Rocks.
Yeah, I don't see anyone either.
Right, and this is a renewal for them. They've had many in the past. Do we have any questions, or is there a motion?
I motion to approve the common victular license renewal for Bass Rocks Beach Club, 17 Nautilus Road.
John Orlando, I couldn't hear you, but I saw your mouth move, so I assume that was a second.
I'm sorry. I second that motion.
That's okay. Thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion?
No.
No.
Roll call vote, Allison, please.
Mr. Lammeron,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. So that license, common victual license, can issue. The next order of business we are going to take up is Oak to Ember. They are on tonight for a pledge of collateral. They are also on for an entertainment license for weekdays and Sunday, and also for a new common victual license. So I know Joel Pavaza, if you could promote Joel, please, that would be great.
Good evening.
Hi,
Hi,
Joel.
Joe.
Hello. So we're looking to kind of knock these out all at once.
Yes, I just want to know, we do have attorney Susan Egan here with us tonight. And just to give some foresight to that, this board has never addressed a pledge before. So Susan is here to assist us and guide us if the board has any questions. We understand the philosophy of it and the intention, but just want to make sure that everything is in order.
Okay.
So I think we should probably talk. I know before you start, or if you could give us some sort of statement. So Oak to Ember is not open yet. Could you give us like a status update? I understand that there's some issues getting equipment and things like that, but just maybe give us a timeline or an expectations because we're all
Sure.
excited and waiting.
Yeah. Listen, I think no one's more disappointed than the Maver family that the summer is passing that deck on by without anybody out there enjoying some food. But basically, as you know from previous times I've visited this board, the hope was that by April of this year, it was going to be open, and they hit some pretty severe supply chain delays As you recall, they're redoing the entire kitchen, redoing the entire dining area. And so it got pushed out to, they're currently hopeful that by the end of September, which is just next month, I think they might actually be able to get this thing open. All the major components have finally arrived, they're being installed. And so that's why we've chosen to come tonight and try and get the common vic in line, the entertainment licenses lined up. And then the pledge is actually a little bit of housekeeping. Initially, they were self-financing the project, and then before interest rates went through the sky, they said, we better grab some financing while we can. So they went and got a loan to the SBA. And that's why we're here seeking to pledge that as additional collateral for that loan. But otherwise, the cautiously optimistic plan is that you'll see Oak to Ember opening up by the end of next month. They're hoping to have a nice fall, maybe some nice, hopefully some warm nights out on that deck. And so that's where they are right now. They're, doing their best to get back to market with everybody, anxiously waiting their arrival.
So what you're saying is the inside, the remodeling is pretty much done and they do have the equipment on the way. So it's just a matter of pulling it all together.
Yep. As you can imagine, it's a supply chain.
Yep.
You lose contractors, right? You tell a contractor they're going to do something in May, then May comes, they can't do it. You say, can you come back, next month? They say, no, I'm gone for 3 months doing another project. And then to come back when they're free to actually complete the work.
Okay, great. John, do you have any questions regarding the status or on the business before we start with the request?
I don't.
So let's move forward with the pledge first.
Okay.
We have your documents.
I'm just gonna pull my application up myself. So as I mentioned earlier, Oak to Ember LLC, which is the legal entity holding the license, they went and they sought financing from Northern Bank Trust Company, which was a small business loan backed by the SBA, which is the Small Business Administration, federal funding program that uses local lenders to administer it. And there's a split on the back end between the federal funds and the actual funds from the bank. Nonetheless, the overall principal of the loan was $1,540,300. It is a 126-month promissory note. It's 10.5 years. And one of the conditions of this loan was that in addition to the various other guarantees and collateral put forward by Oak to Ember and its principal members, Neil and Larry Maver and the Maver family, was that the license itself would also get pledged. And so the paperwork before you is just seeking to have this license augmented with the pledge in favor of Northern Bank and Trust Company in the amount stated on the sheet.
Okay. I'm just going to ask Suzanne Egan. Suzanne Egan, are you available?
I am, yes.
Hi. Did you have the opportunity to review this application? I know you have access to our sheets.
Yes, I did review it, and I reviewed the general law, and I know that there was some question because the licensing board hasn't reviewed a pledge of a license before.
Right.
And so what is it, chapter 138, section 23 does allow that pledge of a license.
And like I said, it's new to us. And I know you've worked in other communities. Are you familiar with this? Like, is this a common practice to you? Because it's first for us, long time on this board, I think.
I'm not familiar with it as being a common practice, but what I would say is that it's very clear that even though there is a pledge of the license, the board and the ABCC retains all jurisdiction over the licensee as to their compliance with rules and regulations. So it doesn't affect the licensing board to the extent that you lose any ability to enforce your rules and regulations and your conditions to the license.
Okay, and just to help us as well, so by pledging it, that's collateral. Is there some point that, and I'm not saying this would happen, but a bank could own the license, and what does the licensing board lose any abilities if that happens? This is just a general question, not anything other than just trying to learn about it.
So if the bank went to foreclose on it, whether then. the
Yeah,
bank-
if something happened, yeah.
Sell it. They can't exercise it. So one of the things that you know for sure about your authority over licenses is that if there's a transfer of management, right, a change in management, a change in premises, a change in even the sort of the configuration of the premises, what part of the building will be licensed and who is going to be managing that, is that the licensing board retains control over that. So if there was a pledge of this license and that it was, unfortunately, they either declared bankruptcy or there was some sort of foreclosure on it, the board retains control over that license to the extent that that can't be operated, and because they would have to go and say, go for a transfer of management and
Okay.
request it before this board, before anything could happen with that, really.
That's helpful.
Yeah, it's a so they have a contractual relationship and you have a regulatory authority, and that is not affected by a contractual relationship because they can't, by contract, you can't take away a regulatory authority's ability to review the activity under the license.
Thank you very much. John and John, do you have any questions before we proceed on pledges in general?
Are
No,
pledges just due to, for those that have annual licenses, or can they be also used for seasonal licenses?
So I don't believe there's anything in the law that prohibits a seasonal license from being pledged. I haven't seen anything. Melissa did ask me that question, and so I did research that to see whether or not anything prohibited it, but I don't see anything that did.
Okay.
So therefore, I would say that no. As far as I know, there's nothing that prohibits it.
Yeah, I tried to research it too and couldn't find anything. So, but I just wanted to double check with Suzanne. So is it typical when, Suzanne, this is my last question. So when there's and Jill, I'm sorry, you are here in the middle of this and I'm using this opportunity to learn about pledges. So just give me a
I
second.
love
Go
that
right
Suzanne
ahead.
has all the answers and I can just sit here. This has been great for me.
Yeah,
So when we approve a pledge and say it's for $4 million, right? The pledge is $4 million and they're like, is there an expectation that by pledging the license that we would say we would want, does that money have to go towards that business that the license is pledged? Or does the entity have an opportunity to use that money elsewhere? Is it just an approval of a loan and we don't have control over what that loan is spent on, or is there conditions?
So you're approving the pledge. You're not, and your authority is over, I would say this, that your authority is over the conduct of the business of the licensed premises, the management, and how that entity operates under that license, how they exercise their rights under the licenses, whether or not the board was going to get into the business deal, that contractual relationship between the licensee and their banker or the mortgagor. That's not something that you necessarily have authority over under the regulations or under the law.
Okay.
So it's really what you're looking at. So I would say what the concern of the licensing board would be, a lot of it is whether or not they have met their financial obligations under the law, whether they've paid their taxes, whether they've paid their sort of licensing fees. And that's the type of thing that you would review as to whether or not it's going to be a viable a viable business that's compliant with all of its financial obligations that you review as a part of your application process.
Very helpful. Thank you. Okay, John and John, if there's no more questions, let's let Attorney Pavaza proceed with his requested pledge.
sure.
Yeah, so I think we're pretty much there. Like I said, this would be a pledge in favor of the Northern Bank and Trust Company. As Attorney Egan stated, this would solely be to make sure that this asset would be, the value of this asset would not be escapable and would not allow the LLC to sell off this asset without having the funds, be paid over to the bank in the event there's a default or some sort of situation where monies have not been returned that are required by the private loan agreement between the license holder and the entity itself. But again, as Attorney Egan stated, this is nothing to license Northern Bank and Trust as a purveyor of alcoholic beverages, just make sure that along with the rest of the assets of this company, Oak to Ember, this asset being the liquor license itself is also locked up, and to make sure that nobody before the bank will receive money from the sale of it if the loan is outstanding. So we
Okay.
ask that you approve this pledge, and hopefully it goes into a file and it's the last receipt of it until the loan's paid off.
And again, how many months was that? I forget. Would you say 120?
126, so it's
Okay.
a 10, we're about 6 months in, the loan closed a few months back. So we're about 10 years out from the loan being repaid.
Okay. So we're gonna see 10 years of great business coming out of Oak to Ember. Excellent.
Idea.
John and John, any questions?
No,
No, I think I'm good. can-
Attorney Egan, any concerns?
No, I don't have any concerns over this.
Okay, thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve?
I motion to approve the pledge of collateral to Oak and to Oak to Ember LLC, 9 Rogers Street.
and I second that motion.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Joe was pretty thorough in his details.
Thank you, Joel.
Roll call vote, Allison?
You're muted. Still are.
Sorry, my dog keeps barking. Mr. Lammerin,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes,
Ms. Prince.
Yes. So that pledge passes. Let's move on to the common victual license.
Okay, we are just here seeking a common vic license so that they can operate the establishment, which is going to obviously, in addition to exercising its liquor license, be selling food as a retail establishment where you'll sit down and or take out food.
Tell me about inspections and things like that. How you
Sure.
work with the building, the city
So
building department.
So our request would be that all of like the entertainment licenses and the common vic license would all be subject to satisfactory inspections once construction is complete. Obviously, there's an open building permit on the property still, so we can't get certain inspections. For instance, the health department inspection, they won't even book you a health department inspection until there is food in the refrigerator. So we would happily take a condition that says the entertainment license we're asking for next, and this common vic license I'm asking for right now is contingent upon satisfactory inspections by all the requisite departments.
And we both know you need a common vic license to operate an alcohol license, so that will go hand in hand. Allison, I'm not seeing their application on the OpenGov. Is it in it must have been in our drive, right? I thought
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah,
Hold on, I just want to,
they're both there. They're both paid.
Yeah. I've looked at them too, Madam Chair, so
okay. I apologize. I tried to have all this up and I was reading a lot today. Any concerns with the application, John and John?
no.
I don't.
So we can make a motion to approve subject to receiving inspections. Okay.
I motion to approve a new common victor license to Oak and to Amber, 9 Rogers Street, subject to all approval of inspections.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further deliberation? Roll call vote, please.
Lammerin,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes,
Ms. Prince.
Yes. So that license will issue hopefully in September. On to the entertainment license.
Certainly, so we are requesting both the normal entertainment license and a Sunday entertainment license. Both licenses are strictly for pre-recorded music being played at ambient volume. This is not for live music. This is not for dance music. This is not for anything other than pre-recorded music being played on stationary speakers, both indoors and outdoors. Obviously, for those of you who are familiar with the property, although I bet that's no one on this board, the outdoor deck itself is sandwiched between another food establishment with outdoor seating and a public parking lot, and then you go further out on either side and you have commercial fishing wharfs. So to the extent that the outdoor music was really going to impact anybody, I can't imagine there'll be complaints coming in from the St. Peter's parking lot about ambient music off the deck. Same thing indoors. It's obviously going to be kept at a level that makes sense for people to be able to enjoy their dining experience while enjoying some music in the background. And we have the hours listed as 10 to 10, Monday through Saturday. And then when you fill out the form for the Sunday entertainment, it asks you if you are before 1. And so we wrote before 1 p.m. and then ending at 10 o'clock along with the rest. So
Wait, what do you mean before 1? When is it starting?
when we were filling out the form, we had to, the formatting was different on the Sunday side. And so instead of putting in just
Okay,
PM like we had from Monday through Saturday,
okay.
simply says before 1 until 10 p.m.
So,
What time do you think that will be then? 10?
Yeah, and yeah, it would have been 10 to 10. If I had discretion as to actually fill the form out freehand, it would have been 10 to 10 all 7 days.
so Oak to Ember does not plan on being open for entertainment past 10 o'clock.
Right, the music will stop by 10 o'clock.
So let me ask you a fun question. So Minglewood, every now and then has these great big celebrations inside, which can be heard down the fort, because I know my friends consider it like a free concert. So what are we gonna do on those nights? I mean, if the music is that loud, do you see that being an issue where they're so close? Like, are you still gonna try to play the ambient music, or will there be a resolution that one is louder than the other? And I'm just trying to think of if it could get hectic, because some of their events are pretty loud.
Yeah, I do not foresee a loudness war out on, again, Minglewood has some really fun events with some live music, sometimes some DJ music. You're not going to have that here at Oak to Ember. It's only going to be, frankly, I doubt the sound system that's going in can even compete with the live music that you get at a place like Minglewood. So I don't think you'll have an example of Minglewood has a live band, and so all of a sudden Oak to Ember's cranking their system up to 11, shout over it. If anything, if the music's good, if it's a good band, you might have Oak to Ember shutting the music off and opening a window, right?
Right, exactly.
I don't foresee a loudness war between the two businesses.
Okay, great. You just never know. And there are some residential areas downtown, so I was just wondering how that was gonna work out. I don't have any more questions. John have any questions?
Just is Oak to Ember open 12 months? Are they going to be open 12 months?
Yeah,
Okay.
They have a year-round license.
That I know, but sometimes.
Yeah, just want to make sure they're committed. I get it.
yeah, they're gonna use it.
Did you say it was 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 11 p.m.?
10 p.m.
10 p.m. Okay, I just want to make sure.
So we need to do 2 motions because we still have to do the Sunday separate.
I motion to approve a new entertainment license for Oak to Ember, 9 Rogers Street, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m., 10 p.m., indoor and outdoor, subject to all approved inspections.
I second the motion. The motion.
So I just want to amend the motion to add pre-recorded ambient music. So on the amendment, is there a second on the amendment?
I second the motion.
Allison, can we have a roll call vote on the amendment?
Mr. Lamoran,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. So the motion will include the hours and the type of music, Monday through Saturday. So on the main motion, roll call vote?
Mr. Lamoran,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. And on
Vote.
Sunday?
Yeah, I motion to approve the new common victor license, new entertainment license to Oak
Okay.
to Ember, 9 Rogers Street, Sunday, 10 a.m. through 10 p.m. Pre-recorded music, subject to all approved inspections.
I second that motion.
Any further discussion on the motion?
No.
Roll call vote?
Mr. Lamoran,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
See you, Joe.
Sorry, I'm
next-
trying to word things as well as write it in, so, sorry.
That's okay. Let us know if we're going too fast. We have a lot of business and we have a lot of
That's
important
okay.
business.
I just look like I have no brain, but I got it.
Okay. The next order of business I am going to call is the pledge for Studio LLC, 51 Rocky Neck Ave. Michael Ford, Attorney Michael Ford, can we promote, please? Good
All right.
evening, Attorney Ford. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having us. I also have with us Steve Whalen, manager and owner. So I don't know if you want to promote him also in case you have any questions.
Sure. And if you could state his name and address for the record, that would be great as well. So Steve Ford,
Whalen.
oh, sorry, Steve Whalen, you're Ford. It's a little hot in this room. I don't have air conditioning. Hi, Steve. Can you unmute, say your name and address, please?
Hi, Steve Whalen, 95 Welland Road, Brookline, Massachusetts.
Welcome.
Hello, Steve.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Did
So,
Mr. Ford give his address?
and Michael Ford, Ford Law PC, 245 Sumner Street, East Boston, Mass.
Thank you.
I'm sure you heard, this is our second pledge tonight and the second pledge that this board has heard.
So I know we presented last time. I'm prepared to do that too. And I had all my research together, but I think Attorney Egan beat me to the punch. I might have one or two things to add if you would like me to.
So I think from a high level, give us recap of what was said before, just to get it into the record.
Okay, so I would echo what is in chapter 138, section 23 on the ability to pledge. We did a little bit more digging, and I believe I have my citation correct. It's Mass General Laws, chapter 138, section 2. And the quote is, any holder of a license under this chapter may pledge, and it goes on mortgage and whatnot. We did a little further digging. I didn't circulate it. I could circulate it to Attorney Egan on this. We did reach out to the deputy executive director at the ABCC, Ryan Melville, and I will represent to the board that my associate attorney, Ryan Gosder, reached out and did receive an email saying there's no prohibition on a section 12 seasonal licensee obtaining a pledge. Would also echo the fact that you are the gatekeepers. So that's what happens. And I would say from experience, most of my work is from the trial standpoint. So when we try to grab a license back, because we're trying to satisfy the loan, there's a whole heck of a lot more than just the going in, getting the license from an injunction standpoint with the trial court. Then the next step, which is often missed by litigators on the litigation side, is to go and file it before the board. It's not only is there ability to pledge, it's right in there, and no one's usurping your power. Shall I go into some more of the details of the pledge?
Sure. Unless
right.
there's any questions at this point, John and John, are you good so far?
Are we talking about a seasonal license?
Yes.
So do people normally sell seasonal licenses?
So let me interrupt there and give a little
Okay.
background. I don't know if you were here last time, John. So it was my understanding, since I've been on the board, that this city had a policy that seasonal licenses were not transferable. And this board, for the past 3 years since I've been on here, has acted in that manner. In other words, no licenses were ever transferred, new licenses were applied for, and that's the process that this board has followed. When Attorney Ford came before us, I had brought up that issue that it was my understanding that they were non-transferable. So I had requested that he reach out to Suzanne Egan and talk with her, and I was engaged in conversation as well through email to find out where the policy is, and if it's a city ordinance, if it was just a vote, is it captured in the minutes anywhere? And it was reported that there was nothing found to say that they were non-transferable. So even though this board has acted that way, it appears now that there's nothing to prevent us from transferring a license. That ability still lies with the licensing board because we decide on transfers. However, because of that knowledge, there's nothing precluding us from approving a pledge because it's seasonal. And we got that from Suzanne Egan.
So there's a value now to the seasonal?
That's my question.
Yeah, so I don't know how that's going to work out. I mean, I know we can't do anything tonight. I mean, we're listening to the pledge, but maybe this board as a whole at a new meeting will have to discuss that. So just know that it's been reported to us that there's nothing to prevent us because the law says that all licenses are transferable. That doesn't mean we have to approve them based on other reasons, but I wouldn't use the reason that they're non-transferable as a reason to not approve the pledge.
And just to echo some other things, this all goes to the ABCC, and that's the way we sort of look at it in our office. That's when it all begins.
Right.
Because you get a really vigorous analysis. They assign an investigator. You all know this. They look under the hood. They look at everything and sourcing. With respect to what's the value in the license, just address that. I don't know why security committees on banks make the decisions that they do, but I think it's more of a belt and suspenders thing on this, especially since this was really tied into the acquisition of the property because of the common ownership. So that's the value. And as part of the loan agreement that we submitted, as part of the major $2.25 million loan, you have a situation where they ask to secure everything. They want to make sure that they're fully secured. And so that's why you see individual guarantees of both Steve Wayland and Fred Starakoff. You see the mortgage on the property. And this is, oh, well, we want to have the security on the license too, as I think counsel just before me spoke of, because they don't want you just selling the license and sending it elsewhere. The value might be very little, but they want to be able to have the whole package.
Okay, that sounds good.
So, and this is, and just double checking on it, the loan agreement that we submitted, what was required to submit, I don't think references the term, which is part of the other loan documents which go to the ABCC. In my understanding, it's a 1 year. So we're doing all this for 1 year so we can maintain our financial and security covenants on the overall loan. So I would suggest not to make light of it. It is much ado about not much, given that it's a one year. I also just sort of in anticipating some of the questions of the board here, sort of had side conversations with Steve Whalen on this, that this is probably just going to be refinanced in a year anyways, unless they pay it off with other internal money. So it would suggest given the operation, given the experience of this group, given all the other bars and hospitality events and restaurants that really Steve Whalen and Fred Starakoff own, this is what they do. This has become really a passion. This is their love, and this is really all part of their overall overarching goal in developing the services they can provide. So the other thing to consider with approving the pledge, if there's any concerns, they're all in on this, because if the pledge, if the pledge went under, they're done because of the personal guarantees. So they're all in, ask you to approve the pledge.
I have a question. It's my understanding the studio may be incurring some renovations this winter.
Yes, do you want some
Yeah.
details on that?
Yeah, could you give us some, please?
Steve, do you want to hit some of the details on what's
Yeah,
going to be?
depending on if we're also petitioning for a year-round license. If we get the year-round license, we'll be upgrading to be 4 seasons. We'll also have, we didn't have much time from May to open when we got approved to really think about, kind of the internal look and feel. So we'll be looking at that and addressing that. And we got to figure out a way that the umbrellas don't fly off the decks. So that will be a winter project. I'm sure we can, the Brain Trust will figure it out.
Okay. I was there the other day and I was talking to some people in there and they just brought up the fact that there could be some renovations coming and I was just curious about it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll take advantage probably of the later part of the winter, the weaker months to do some work.
Yeah. Okay. Suzanne Egan, can you let us know if you have any concerns with this? I know you and Attorney Ford have been engaged in conversations.
I actually didn't have a chance to talk to Attorney Ford.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
He called and I missed his message. But I don't have any concerns with this at all. And, I think that he's accurately reflected the status of the law and the fact that, that this is allowed under Chapter 138.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions?
No.
No.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve the pledge of license for the Studio LLC 51 Rocky Neck Ave.
I second that motion.
Well, any further deliberation?
No.
Roll call vote?
You're muted.
I am.
No.
Cameron,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes.
Thank you.
So that pledge is approved. Do you have any questions for us?
We have none. Just thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Attorney Ford, are you involved with the transfer of liquor license?
I have the Topside Pub LLC as well as the new application to go from seasonal to annual on the studio.
Okay, so let's move on to the transfer of liquor license. Trying to be as efficient as possible tonight, make the most of
Thank
every
you.
moment.
We made a bet she couldn't be short.
This is a tough agenda.
Okay, do you want to call it or?
Yep, no, so I was just crossing out some stuff. So this is a transfer of an on-premise Section 12 annual restaurant all alcohol beverage license, Topside Pub LLC, DBA Topside Grill and Pub located at 50 Rogers Street. So I don't know if it's the same parties or if you need to add anyone, but we just need to state your name and address for the record for this matter.
It's going to be the same parties. This is Michael Ford from Ford Law PC. My address is 245 Sumner Street, East Boston, Massachusetts. And with me is Steve Whalen, who will introduce himself right now.
Hi, Steve Whalen, 95 Welland Road, Brookline, Mass.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, and here we are seeking the transfer of the license. I think just to sort of open it up, as you can tell, this would be the second place. My clients really love Gloucester. and want to be here, love it, and really want to make a success of it. This is an application for the transfer of the existing annual all alcoholic beverages license. They entered into an asset purchase agreement, which is part of the application with the former operator for the purchase. Because of the way that's structured with the real estate and the assets, it's $10,000 for the assets, no outside financing with respect to the assets. The owners are Fred Starikoff, Steve Whalen, and also one of their other partners who joins them in some of these operations, Alan Sharaf. The whole group, as the board knows, has significant time with real estate and now restaurant and bar management. And this is also another major investment. There's no changes proposed. What you see is what you get. This is going to operate the way that it is. I know that we also have the applicant. We'll talk about that later. It's 135 seats indoors. The hours are 10 to 12:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. on Sunday. It's about 3,000 square feet. Tell you a little bit about our manager of record, who in the interim will be splitting his duties between the studio and this operation, which is, I think, about 2.5 miles away. He is an approved manager under the ABCC. He is also the owner at the studio and has ownership interests, which require his oversight, including the TAM, Beacon Hill Pub, Sullivan Saloon in Boston, and what's now become really the rage, RF O'Sullivan's in over in just outside of Boston. He's tip certified. He's a Mass resident. He's a U.S. citizen. He's familiar with the rules of this board and the ABCC, he's here to answer any of those questions. I won't address anything about the entertainment license or the common victular unless you want me to, or wait until you call it.
Yeah, wait, let's hold up on this because we have to have a discussion. So, so you're purchasing the building and the business and the alcohol license, correct? That's the intent?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but I've had several conversations and requests for information on this. The outdoors part of the dining is not transferable. The City of Gloucester Zoning Board, when they made the decision to allow that, it specifically states that it's not transferable to another owner. So before, and I noticed in your agreement that it mentioned any reduction in capacity. So I'm not sure if you were including that as a capacity, but know that this board tonight cannot license the outdoor area, and that you would need to go before the zoning board and work with the building inspector to determine whether or not you can use that city property. It's city property, that's why.
Gotcha.
And it's something that you cross a sidewalk, and I'm not sure if you're aware, or I'm sure you are because you checked it out, but it's a unique setup down there. And because the public is crossing through as people are coming out with food and drinks. So it's not as contiguous as one may expect. So that is going to be an issue with this transfer. And I just wanted to have that discussion up front because I didn't know if you would need more time, still want to move forward. But as it stands tonight, after speaking with the building inspector today and seeing the zoning board opinion, we cannot license the outdoor area for the service of alcohol until the zoning board approves that usage of city property.
Yes. I'd like to move forward on the petition, and then we'll move forward on seeking zoning if we can on the outside. In the meantime, we're going to talk, and thank you very much for bringing up that point. We'll talk to the seller as a diminutive use. You know, we've lost a little bit of the value.
Yep, and if you do go through, if this is approved tonight and you do go through the zoning board, once you've passed everything that they've requested you to, you can come back here and extend your premises. But
Yep.
anything we approve tonight, that outdoor area will not be included in the floor plan.
Understood. Thank you.
Okay. So John and John, do you have any questions?
Just one, is it still going to be a rooming house or boarding house?
It will, yeah, simple answer, but we're gonna upgrade those rooms so we can get, you know, kind of a higher level clientele. We manage real estate all over Boston and the surrounding cities, so we know how to manage property, and we don't want issues at our property, and we feel like, honestly, we can get the tenants that will pay a little bit more for a little nicer of a unit. So that'll be a focus, definitely. And we'll also be doing cosmetic upgrades within the space. We'd like to keep it a sports bar, you know, so we're nothing too exotic, just a good sports bar.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
John Lamron,
No, I'm good.
what kind of menu will you have?
Pub fare. We haven't banged it out completely yet, but simple pub fare.
And when do you plan on doing renovations or upgrading?
Pretty much ASAP for the cosmetic and also for, you know, the rooms that we have available to go into on
So
the
are
real
you-
estate.
Does that mean you'll be closing down? You won't be opening right away? Like, what is your open date? Like, what is the?
Yeah,
timeline?
open date, I mean, we'd like to get open by, I mean, this time we'll have a lot more time than we had at the studio where it was crazy getting everything together. So we'd like to open by early spring. I mean, I see that as a real possibility.
And when-
And that pace is very, you know, more relaxed than what we went through the first time.
And will this business shut down until then?
Yeah, we'll have a period of time where we will be shut down. Yeah.
So are you shut, does that business stop as soon as this occurs? Like, in other words, are you just gonna be open for another month and then close for the winter? Like, what, I'm just wondering about public access.
As far as jumping in, I mean, we'd work through the month, the first couple of months. I think we're closing in.
I think this is a close in September, right? That's what,
Yeah,
I don't have the PNS in
September.
front of me, but I thought it's September.
So September, October, more than likely will stay open, and then in October we start our work, and then reopen as soon as we complete that.
And just know that I ask, so there's always this battle in the city of Gloucester to find liquor licenses, right? I'm sure you're aware of that. You're here tonight. And there's several that aren't being used right now, and that's a concern. You know, we probably have 4 or 5 that aren't being used. And I'm hearing these businesses want to remodel, and that leads to shutting down, which leads to no public access in the city for our restaurants. It seems like that's where we're going, and it's a concern for the city. But at the same time, I understand that there needs to be upgrades and remodeling in there. So
I mean,
that's just why I'm asking, you know, because we still have the tourist season through September. And I know that that's a tourist grabber. October, yep, John. So I'm just concerned more about the shutdown date, just to be able to handle what's left. I mean, as you know, businesses are struggling with staff and things like that. So the more businesses that can be open for as long as they can through this season is very beneficial to the city. So that's
And
why
it's-
I'm inquiring.
It's good for us to maintain staff. I mean, we moved very fast to the studio as far as getting that up and running. I mean, it was a matter of 2.5 months, basically, which was as fast as you can go. This time, when I say we're going to be more relaxed on the open, we're not going to just shut down for no reason. I mean, we want to be open, we want to be making money, and we want to be strategic on the when we shut down and when we open back up, and we want to maintain our staff because, like you said,
Yeah.
staffing and what we saw this season and why we're looking for a year round on the studio is just to maintain the staff. So we don't have to rebuild the wheel every year. And then we have, you know, some people that come in, work out or not work out. And we'd like to have like continuity on both places where we had a good core staff that expanded during the season and then contracted, you know, in off season, but stayed open.
But just a reminder as well that when this license transfers, I'm not sure when your transactions take place, but once it transfers, the outdoor area is going to be off limits for use out there.
Yeah, so we'll try to get right on that so we can hit the season if we can.
Okay. Security, is it going to be security cameras in the building at all?
Always at our places, we always have them.
And yeah, so- Allison, this is a public hearing, correct? This supposed to be a public hearing for a transfer?
Yes, yes, it is a public hearing.
So it was published?
It was published.
Okay, because I just got to open the public hearing. That's why I just want to make sure that we have the opportunity to get community feedback. John and John, any questions before I open the public hearing?
The hours of operation again, just for me, 10 a.m. through 12:30 a.m. and 10 a.m. on Sunday till what time?
12 a.m.
12 a.m. Okay.
That mean you're serving food until 12 a.m.?
We'll probably cut out at 10 for food.
But stay open till 12 for the pub area of our area?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not 12:30, 12?
I believe it's 12, right, Mike?
12,
12:30
Sunday.
is the latest you can be open in Gloucester.
yeah, 12 on 12 on Sunday.
And 12:30 on weekdays? And
Yes.
Saturday? Okay.
Yes.
Will you be doing any kind of brunch or breakfasty type, or are you just gonna stick with lunch and dinner?
Right now, we're just thinking lunch and dinner.
Okay. And obviously you'll probably have a full bar in the pub, that's the intention?
Yeah.
And you're saying the seating capacity probably won't change from what it is now,
No, 150 inside.
150?
Yeah.
Or 115?
150, 150.
Okay, thank you, sorry.
That's all
Zoom
right.
is not the best in my side of the world over here. Okay, so I am going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone, we have 15 attendees. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the transfer of liquor license for located at 50 Rogers Street? Please raise your hand. And I see none, so I will close the public hearing. Okay, gentlemen, are we ready to vote, or do we have questions? Any further questions?
I don't have any questions.
No, I think I'm good too.
Your application seems to be in order. That's one thing I'm doing tonight, is just making sure that all the documents required are here. I see that you did notify your abutters. For this. Allison, do you see any concerns with the application?
My knowledge, no, I don't.
I looked through it too, Madam Chair, and I didn't see anything.
Okay, great.
34 seems pretty accurate.
Okay, and I don't know that I have to tell you this, but as you know, this is the first level of approval. The ABCC will be the second level of approval with a probably more intense questioning or investigation. And then the license usually takes about a month to 6 weeks to get back, is how we've been seeing it in Gloucester. Just so you
Great.
know.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there a motion to
I
present?
I motion to approve transfer of an on-premise Section 12 annual restaurant all alcohol beverage license to Topside Pub LLC, doing business as Topside Grill and Pub at 50 Rogers Street. Hours of operation, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. This does not include any outdoor dining approval.
I second that that motion.
Okay, discussion?
Just a comment.
Yep.
Happy to see somebody who knows how to run real estate coming to downtown.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I spent 38 years on Main Street and I have confidence in you.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks again for approving us. We appreciate it.
So I just want to know, not all licensing board put their hours of operation on their license. We do, because that is our way of saying we have an expectation that you're going to be open and operating. Some feel that they can get a year-round license and still shut down for many months, and that's not any behavior that this board would approve. So by stating that you're open, there's expectations that you're open. I understand vacations, remodels, active COVIDs and things like that, put barriers and restraints on businesses, but there's an expectation by approving this license that it will be used year round once you're remodeled and people.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you. Yeah, we will be.
Any further questions, concerns? Allison, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes,
Ms. Prince.
Yes. Congratulations.
yes.
Thank
good
you,
luck.
guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, so let's go to the common victular license.
So I motion to approve a new common victor license to Topside Pub LLC, doing business as Topside Grill and Pub at 50 Rogers Street.
I second the motion.
Okay, so to be clear, this is a common victular license that will be subject to inspections. And also noted that it's the indoor areas only. The
Yes.
common vic.
Good.
Any further questions, deliberation? Roll call?
Mr. Lamoureux,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes,
Ms. Prince.
Yes. And entertainment.
Thank you. Great. Awesome.
Entertainment?
Oh, what are we
We
doing
are
for
not done
entertainment?
yet.
No, we just.
You
we
applied
just,
for an entertainment
we don't have
license.
any live music. It's just stereo
Ambient.
music. Yeah, but no live music.
So I just want to know, you didn't apply for Sunday, just so you know. So if that's something you want, you're going to have to come back to us to get on an agenda. So right now it would
Yeah.
be Monday through Saturday. And I'm sorry, what kind of music was it?
Right now it's just stereo music. So pumped in stereo.
Stream music?
So ambient, pre-recorded ambient.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking. Thank you.
That means no games. I think they had something going on there with games before, but no other activity, because games would require to be part of the entertainment license.
I'm trying to, was this one, I'm just looking, I have a couple before me.
Yep.
Was this one in for trivia, or did I have that, or am I thinking of another application?
I could think of another one. I didn't see it on the,
Gotcha.
let me check though.
They did have trivia before, is all they had.
Speak now.
I'll take
Straight
trivia.
background. Yeah, straight background music.
Just stream background music, that's it for entertainment?
Yeah,
And you can
Yes.
always modify that by coming
Yeah, we'll
forward
come.
to get going.
Got it.
No, they do have trivia marked off as a yes.
What, it is here?
It is checked off.
Oh, it is on the application? Okay.
Trivia and ambient recorded music.
So, and I thought it was put in for Sunday. I don't know if there, frantically going through the documents now. Was that not checked off on the Sunday?
Let me check. I believe it wasn't though.
I don't see anything on there right now, Allison.
And it's not on our agenda, so we wouldn't have been able to hear it tonight,
Okay.
but you can come back.
And it was not, it says no. They checked off no. For Sundays.
Must be some reason. Steve and I will powwow right now.
Yeah. I think it was Fred's
Must
fault.
have been a Fred
So we'll-
Starikoff decision.
We'll be back.
He's delegated this, to Steve and I.
Steve, it does say on here, indoor capacity is 135, not the
Okay.
150.
Mike, is that what you have too?
I have 135.
Okay, sorry, I thought it was more.
That's okay. So is there a motion to approve for Monday through Saturday, ambient and trivia?
I motion to approve a new entertainment license for Topside Pub LLC, doing business as Topside Grill and Pub at 50 Rogers Street, Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12:30 a.m., ambient and trivia.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Nope.
Roll call vote, please.
Cameron,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. The vote carries.
Thank
Those
you.
hours the same as the opening hours, Madam Chair?
Is what?
Are those hours of entertainment the same as the opening hours?
Same as the open hours, yep. So let me just ask this before we go, before you take a seat in the attendees. So is there gonna be any closure of this restaurant because of this transaction? Like, are you shutting down now during the transfer, or is it gonna stay operating?
I think there's a mandatory, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, with the ABCC while we're getting licensed, and then the only other shutdown would be during renovation.
And I think we're obligated to, in doing any type of closure like that, to do a whole status report and notification to the board. That's usually how I've handled it in other jurisdictions.
Okay, so that means you're staying open?
I mean, we have to go through our permitting and,
Yeah.
they have to walk through, so we can't be open during that period of time.
Right.
But once we get that approval, and that should move pretty quickly because it's open now,
Okay.
we'll move. And I definitely, in Gloucester, I saw a lot of restaurants that were closed. And that hurts everybody. So, I mean, I hear you loud and clear. We want to be open, and we'll get there as quickly as we can.
Thank you. I have faith. Thank you very much. Any questions for us on this subject matter before we move on?
We have none.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
will talk in a little bit. We have some more business to take care of before we get to the applications.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thanks,
So we're
Mike.
gonna move,
Thanks,
we're
guys.
gonna move on to the special one-day liquor licenses. Cheryl Mazur is requesting to sell wine and malt beverages only at the annual Lanesville Community Center Music Festival on September 18th, 2022, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 8 Vulcan Street. So Cheryl, can you, those who want to speak to this, raise their hand.
I think
And
Cheryl was speaking for everybody. For the
I'm sorry?
Cheryl said she was speaking for the application.
Okay, and there's another person with their hand raised. Can we promote them as well?
No, you lowered it. Madam Chair, you lowered it.
I lowered it.
What happens?
Cheryl just needs to unmute and
Cheryl, can you unmute and state your name and address for the record, please?
All right, am I unmuted?
You
yes, you
are.
are.
Okay, can you see me?
No.
Ben, no.
Oh, video, sorry. Okay. Here I am. Hi. My name's Cheryl Mazer. What else did you need?
Your address, please.
Oh, 1202 Washington Street, Gloucester, Mass.
Thank you for joining us. So we have your application, and this is something that happens yearly. This event is similar to what you had, was it 2 years ago? Did you do it
No,
last-
we had a festival last year.
We did, okay.
Yeah, but not the
remember.
year before. Yeah.
Okay.
Last year was a grand festival. Everybody was so excited to be out and about. I think we had, during the course of the, I don't know, what is it? 6 hours or so, we had probably 400 people coming through
Wow, that's
at
awesome.
different times.
And it looks like your setup is pretty much the same, the floor plan.
Yes.
And what are you using for a barrier?
I'm not involved in all that all the time. I think it's
Is it the
think
orange
it's-
fence? I think you used.
a fence. Yeah, it's an orange fence. Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Just to keep it, the alcohol contained.
Right. Right.
And how many bartenders do you plan on having?
We have one bartender. It's the same one we've been having every year.
And
She's licensed.
Mhm. And who's checking IDs and things like that? Is it just one for 400 people?
Oh, well, I mean, they're not there all at once when I said that.
Yeah, in and out.
You know, there may be 50 people and not everybody gets alcohol, but the
Right.
bartender checks.
Okay.
Yes.
And are there other helpers to watch and assist if needed?
Yes, there are a lot of volunteers. We have a long
Okay.
list of volunteers.
Don and John, any questions?
I suspect it went well last year.
It was a great success. The music was fabulous and people were so happy to see each other.
Right, and pretty much you're repeating what you did last year.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
we have local musicians and we have, and it's all by, donation, mission by donation. It's a major fundraiser for the community center. And it's loved by the community.
Yeah, I have no questions. We had no issues last year. So,
Wonderful. Yeah,
I'm
this
just
is our,
looking at the liability insurance just to make sure.
this is our 12th annual music festival.
Wow.
well,
It would have been 13 if it weren't for COVID.
eh. Madam Chair, I had looked at it. They actually submitted their actual policy.
Yeah,
Which is,
reading
goes,
it.
yeah, 5/18/2022 to 5/18/2023.
Just that the way the liability is worded is,
Yeah,
so liquor liability, B exclusions, the following exclusions are added to section. So. I've never seen a liquor liability with exclusions.
Cheryl, normally we just get the certificate of
Yeah,
insurance rather than the policy itself.
right, but it's just being specific what it doesn't cover.
Right, doesn't show a dollar amount. Shows what they pay, but
No, but I'm looking at the language that says what is not insured under liquor liability.
I don't have a copy of that in front of me, so.
That's okay. I don't have any other questions. I know this event has been successful and well-mannered and a fun event, so.
I motion to approve. I'm gonna find it, the one-day, special one-day liquor license to Cheryl Mazer to sell wine and malt beverages only at the annual Lanesville Community Center Music Festival on 9/18/2022 from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 8 Vulcan Street.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Can I just ask, have the Gloucester Police been informed that this event is taking place?
Yes, they're
Okay,
aware. I mean,
I would just-
they've already signed off,
On the
police
inspection?
department on the license. Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to, I don't know if maybe a reminder phone call would be helpful.
Definitely.
Lot going on in the city right now, so just want to make sure that they're aware down in Lanesville.
Chief Fitzgerald, I'm in touch with him whenever there's a major event there.
Oh,
so.
great. He's a good man. Okay, Roll call vote, please.
Cameron,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. Any questions for us, Cheryl?
No, nothing. You know, it's going to be another wonderful event, so I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good
Good
night.
luck.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Next order of business is Ken Wheeler is requesting to sell wine and malt beverages only at the Blackburn Brew Festival on September 17th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Stage 4. Ken? Hi, Ken. Can you say your name? Good, how are you? Can you say your
Great,
name and
thanks.
address for the record, please?
Yeah, 24 Harbor Loop, Gloucester.
Thank you.
With me this evening is Caitlin Pizzani. She's our board president, and Chris Griffith, the executive director of Gloucester Stage, who have the lead on this event.
Great. Thank you for joining us. Caitlin, can you say your address for the record? And then Chris, yours afterwards? You're muted.
Sorry about that. Caitlin
That's
Pizzeni,
okay.
30 Dodge Street, Gloucester.
Thank you.
Chris Griffith, 381 Washington Street, Gloucester.
Thank you. Okay, so we have your application. Give us some information about this event. It looks fun.
Absolutely. We're really excited about this opportunity to celebrate in one of the best spots in town. The enthusiasm we received has been really positive around this event as well. So typically with the Brewfest, if you're not familiar, the amount of the pour is very small. So everyone gets to taste a large amount of breweries. So if someone attends, they get less than a 4-ounce pour to taste the beer that a brewery has brought, and we're able to bring somewhere around 30 to 35 or so breweries from across the North Shore to share their product with folks. We do, in fact, buy the beer from them. They are all registered distributors in the state as required. And then what's a little unique about this event is that we actually never have the alcohol in our hands. They bring the alcohol with them. They supply the tip certified staff members to then pour the 4-ounce pours for guests. We're looking forward to welcoming, close to 1,000 people potentially in the area of Stageport Park. The area itself is the lower section, the flatter section near the volleyball courts, and that will be fenced off using the orange fencing that was mentioned earlier. And will also be a couple other highlights are that we're actually using the staff from Minglewood to do ID checking, as it is, potentially a large group of people coming at one time. There will be 3 to 4 people checking IDs in and out. We'll be using wristbands to make sure that everyone who is over 21 and enjoying the beer is clearly identified. You must be 21 to attend this event. Unfortunately, children and toddlers are not welcome. But guests can also attend as a designated driver, and so they'll be getting a separate color ID, access to free drinks, the water, non-alcoholic type while they're there, so we can make sure folks have a safe ride home. We'll also have some music and food trucks. The food trucks, 4 food trucks to offer a good amount of sustenance to folks while they're outside enjoying the festival. It should be a really great event.
Allison, did this event go through the special committee on the city side?
Yes, it did.
Okay, great. Thank you. John, any questions?
I think Chris answered them all.
Yeah, you
For
covered
me,
up
anyway.
everything that we would have asked. He covered pretty well. So one entrance in and out, correct?
That is right. And what's nice about that orange fencing is that if there was an emergency, everyone could leave in a hurry if we had to. But it still provides the safety. It doesn't let people in and out. It's a 4-foot fence. But if there was, in a hurry, people could get out if they needed to. But yeah, one entrance in and out.
So my concern is security. Are you planning on having a police detail?
Yeah, that's something we discussed, and we did put this in front of the chief, and we hadn't had a time to discuss more. We thought maybe this committee might have suggestions on that as well, and we're definitely open to it, and it's in the budget if we need it.
I think with 1,000 people expected and knowing how fun these events can be and getting a big crowd together in that area, I know for my approval, I would want to see a police detail down there, just to have an extra set of eyes and response in case you need it.
Absolutely, we can make that happen.
You can commit to that? Thank you.
Ken, and you're the tip certified, so you'll be there the full time, 12 to 5.
Yes, I will.
And Chris
Make
and
it
I are
work.
also tip certified and we'll both be there as well.
Yeah.
But only Ken won't be drinking, so sorry.
Thanks for rubbing it in.
I see that you have your insurance and you listed the city, so I'm happy to see that. And I guess I don't have any more questions. I have full faith in anything that Ken Reel is involved in, so.
Wait.
Just a comment, Ken, thank you for bringing another event after Labor Day to
Mhm.
extend the season. That's exciting.
Thanks, John. And it's a credit to our young professionals, which Caitlin leads as president of the board, and Chris has been so active on it. And, frankly, I was interested to hear about Topside. Doug Silva has been very active on that committee as well. So
Okay.
we're really excited about it. It's a young person's event brought to you by our young professionals, and it's really going to be a nice one. And as you say, kind of in the beginning part of our shoulder season.
Yep.
You kind of look like the dad in the middle right now, from what I see.
That's mean.
Yeah, but I love Ken.
It could be grandfather.
So we'll go from Schooner Festival to Brew
Brew Fest.
Festival.
Right.
It's gonna be a good month. Okay, any more questions, concerns, or is there a motion?
A motion to approve a one-day license to Ken Reel to sell wine and malt beverages only at the Blackburn Brew Festival on 9/17/22 from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Stage 4 Park, 24 Hugh Ave.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions, concerns? And like I said, my vote is with the assurance that there'll be a police detail.
Got
Thank
it.
you. Roll call vote?
Yes.
Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince,
Yes. Any questions for us?
No, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Caitlin.
Have
Thank
fun.
you, Ken. Thank you, Chris. Have a
Thank
good
you all.
night.
See you there.
Night. Yes.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, just double checking to make sure we did everything else on the agenda. Did I miss anything? Did anyone pick up on besides going into the application process?
No.
I think I have everything. Okay. the
Yeah,
next-
you mentioned moving Cape Ann Lanes, right?
Yeah, that got rescheduled.
Yeah.
It's probably gonna be the September meeting.
Yep.
Because that requires a public hearing as well. Next order of business is proposed new on-premise section 12 annual restaurant all alcohol beverage licenses. So the next part of this meeting is going to be very productive. We are going to hear from each of the applicants. There's 5 applicants applying for this license that was provided to the city due to an increase in population. It's a annual year-round license, and the criteria to apply was that you would be a seasonal license holder and in good standing. And I believe that is who we have tonight before us. So we're each going to have public hearings. The way it's going to work is I'm going to call the party requesting the application. We are going to review the applications and what was submitted. The board had a conversation at a meeting prior about how we're going to use this tool. We have a spreadsheet, and John Lammerin can share that is going to be a tool. It's not the deciding factor for who gets his license, but it's going to help guide us, the board members, through this decision. And with that being said, after we get a quick look at this Wade chart, I just want to read some language into the record regarding the board and its ability to make a decision on which licenses we can grant and or deny. And also, I would like to add to the record that for those listening, the process we had for this license was different than the last one that was distributed. I reached out to the ABCC to learn that by giving a deadline date like we did, which was in July, we gave applicants a week to apply. So this is not a first come, first serve process like was done before. This is, we are going to review all applicants and use our tool here to get our thought process started, and then look at the legal language, which I will read, to determine who will be the receiver of this license. So I'm just going to read some language from Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 23. Very quickly, there's probably two parts. So the provisions for the issue of licenses and permits hereunder in this chapter implies no intention to create rights generally for persons to engage or to continue in the transaction of the business authorized by the licenses or permits respectively, but are enacted with a view only to serve the public need and in such a manner to protect the common good, and to that end to provide, in the opinion of the licensing authorities, an adequate number of places at which the public may obtain, in a manner and for kind of use indicated, the different sorts of beverages of sales. So these are the guidelines that the licensing board must follow when we issue licenses. So in making its discretionary determination, a licensing authority may take into account a wide range of factors, such as traffic, noise, size, the sort of operation that carries the license, and the reputation of the applicant. The city boards may exercise judgment about public convenience and the public good, which is very broad. So there is some case law that backs up that language in addition to the Mass General Law language. So like I said, this document is going to be a tool, not a deciding factor. And then inquiries will be made to each party as we hear their presentation and open the public hearing. As I stated at the beginning of the meeting, unfortunately, there was a glitch with the Daily Times, and Declan's was not able to have their public hearing posted. It was intended to be tonight. Everything was scheduled to be tonight, but because that was not posted, we had to schedule another meeting, which is next Tuesday at 6:30, where we will hold the public hearing for Declan's, and then the board will make their decision, have their deliberation and make their decision after all public hearings have been closed and questions have been answered. So John and John, do you have any questions before I call the first? I'm not calling them in the order that they're on the agenda, unless there's objection to that.
No, Madam Chair, you want me to stop sharing the?
Yeah, you can take that down now.
Okay.
Hold on, I just want to check one more thing before we start. Okay. So again, just to repeat, I'm going to call the first applicant. We will share, they will come and join this meeting. Some have some presentations to present. The board has had access to these presentations already, so we've had the chance to review them, but the applicant will speak to their application. Then we will open the public hearing, and then after that, we will have questions and answers for that applicant. So I am going to start with, I'm probably going to work my way up from the bottom. We're going to go to Rocky Necklace LLC, DBA The Rudder, located at 73 Rocky Neck Ave. So Meredith Fine, Attorney Meredith Fine is here to represent. If we could promote her, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Whoa.
Shall I,
Can you just say your name and address for the record? Thank you, Meredith.
sure, my name is Meredith Fine. My address is 108 East Main Street in Gloucester. And I
Thank you.
represent Rocky Necklace LLC, doing business as The Rudder.
Is there anyone else in the audience that you would like promoted, or are you?
If Michael Dudas is on the on your screen there, he's the manager of.
I don't see that.
I don't see him.
Okay,
And if he
that's
is,
fine. I can text him if I have it. I know he's watching.
Okay.
So let me just share my screen. There it is. So first of all, I want to thank you all very much for the thoughtful approach you've taken to this license. I've watched the video of your recent meetings, and it's been really impressive to watch you work through both the criteria for the license and the process of awarding it. As you know, I've been on your side of the table, and it's, you know, it's a big responsibility. And so thank you. Watching the spreadsheet evolve has been interesting and instructive, and I appreciate your service in that area.
Thank you, Meredith.
And so what I'd like to do is address the concerns that you've all brought up during these meetings that you've been having. The main criteria that you've advertised is this a seasonal license? And yes, it is. I suspect your next question is, why isn't the restaurant open? Which is obviously a fair question. Purely logistics. When they got about halfway through building the kitchen, and the kitchen just didn't work the way that they had originally designed it. So they're in the process of redesigning the kitchen. And then as they were doing their build out, they came across some problems with the building that had to be negotiated with the landlord, so on and so forth. They are as eager to open as you are to see them open. And they are still shooting for September as fast as they can. But it was certainly not their intent to, they really had thought that they would be open much sooner than this. So purely logistical problems with getting the facility just the way that Ms. Lynch wants it. And speaking of Ms. Lynch, another question that you all had talked about is experience with year-round liquor licenses. And Ms. Lynch has 24 years of experience with year-round liquor licenses. She owns 6, I know you know some of this, but I just want to get it all on the record.
Yep.
She owns 6 restaurants in Boston. I believe 5 of them have year-round liquor licenses just like this, year-round all alcohol. So she's very experienced in managing year-round liquor licenses. So seasonal, and she's very experienced. You also you expressed some interest in community involvement. First of all, Barbara lives in Lanesville, and that does make a difference that she lives here. She grew up, let me stop sharing for a second. She grew up the 7th child of a single mother in South Boston. And her life was really affected by some mentoring that she got when she was in high school, like really affected by these mentors. And so she has a foundation called the Barbara Lynch Foundation, and it right now in South Boston and will soon be in Gloucester High School, hopefully, helps to teach young people essential life skills, not just for restaurants, but leadership skills, entrepreneurship. This is a great passion of hers, and she fully intends to bring this program to Gloucester High School. She also has been very active in building a relationship with the local arts community. So I know that the Rudder is new here. She's not, she's been living in Lanesville for a while. She's personally committed to this community. Another issue that you all discussed was location, and I think we all recognize that the statute and the case law talks a lot about location. In terms of parking, I mean, we're talking about off-season parking on Rocky Neck. Certainly can't be worse than the summer parking on Rocky Neck, and somehow everybody manages. There have been restaurants there for many generations. So I think that it would be, this is anecdotal on my part, better during the off-season than it is right now. In terms of deliveries, they don't get the big food delivery trucks that maybe some other food establishments get. The trucks that go to a Barbara Lynch restaurant are small. And there's a place for them to pull over, and then they get the deliveries lifted into the building. You know, and then this is destination fine dining. This is a restaurant that's going to expand the pie. Forgive me for the food metaphor. It's going to be the first probably of a couple, but this is a restaurant that reaches far beyond Gloucester shores and will bring people to Rocky Neck. And I think that you can see, we were estimating how much additional revenue that this would bring to the community. I recognize the chair's point that she made at an earlier meeting, that this can't be a contest of who makes more money. I get that. But I think what I would argue about that is that it does bring in tax revenue, but it also brings money to that whole neighborhood. It's not just, I mean, the estimate of 112,000, I just want to go back for a second. The estimate of $112,000 per month additional revenue, gross revenue, is based on 80 diners. The facility can hold 140. So we're actually estimating low on the amount of gross revenue that we think that can be brought in if the restaurant's able to expand its service year round. But my point is, this is not an investment. This license for the Rudder would be more than an investment in one business. It would be an investment in making Rocky Neck a year-round visitor destination. And it reminds me in that sense of the Shale and Lou in downtown Rockport. I had the honor of doing their liquor license a number of years ago. And it was a little bit hard at first to see the effect that the Shale and Lou would have on downtown Rockport. But in fact, it has made it a year-round destination. I know people who've moved to Rockport because of the Shale and Lou. I'm not saying people are going to move here for the Rudder. I don't want to overblow the comparison. But I think for the Rocky Neck neighborhood, a year-round liquor license in the hands of Barbara Lynch would change that neighborhood for the better. And when the statute talks about public need, this is what I think it's talking about. Not just benefiting one business, but leveraging a public license such as this to improve an entire neighborhood. She's got the experience, she's got the commitment, she's got the resources, she's got the track record. And I think if the city were to invest in her business by granting her this license, they would get that investment back many, many times over. So thank you for listening, and I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Meredith. I'm just looking through your presentation because I thought it was going to be on screen.
Oh, it was briefly. I can bring it back.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it right now. I just wanted to, I'm trying to listen and look at the same time, and I didn't want to look away as if I wasn't paying attention. So
I'm
I
happy. to
have
keep
two
talk-
different computers going.
I'm happy to keep talking.
Okay. Got it.
So I know you have a lot of public hearings tonight, so I don't want to take up too much time.
No, I appreciate it. So I'm just, first I just want to look through the application process and see and make sure that we have what is required. That's what I'm going to do with each applicant. And I just have lots of notes for tonight because there was a lot going on. So what I noticed that I didn't see any financial information submitted for this application. Let me just bring the application up again. So there's no financial information you want to disclose for this application? Because there wasn't any attached.
Yeah, I'm looking at the application now. Yeah, I mean, I can see, I didn't fill out this application, but I'm not sure, we're not purchasing anything, we're just converting a license over.
Okay.
So on number 8, page 8, you know, there's no financing, she's just
Right.
paying for it out of her own pocket,
So
basically.
there's no extra cost going from seasonal to full-time, any?
No, I mean, she needs the same kitchen for
Yep.
this as she would need for the seasonal.
Right, makes sense. And I don't have any green receipts to show that neighbors were notified. And I'm looking at the attendees and I'm actually shocked that I don't believe there is anyone from Rocky Neck attending these hearings. That's unusual. So I am
know
concerned that the neighbors weren't notified.
I think they were.
But we
Allison.
don't have the green return receipts.
I thought I
Allison, do you
saw
have them?
I do not. I spoke with the person that was doing this application. Her name's Tanya. She did not respond back. So she did ask if I had them, and I said no, and I haven't heard anything back.
I've seen them, Madam Chair, and I know she sent the letter out. I thought that they had been emailed to Allison.
No, and I still haven't received them. I just checked my email.
Okay.
And
Can I-
does
can I
she
have that
own
date?
it? Does she own this property?
Tanya?
Does she own the property?
No, she's Miss Lynch's finance director.
Okay, so I'm not seeing any legal right to occupy as well.
Oh,
is
you have
also
the lease.
required.
You have the lease as part of the seasonal application we did in the spring.
I know, but this is an application that's going to the ABCC, so it is a separate application. So we can't assume that we have things that we're gonna go looking for in other files. These are all required at the time of filing this application. That's what it says on the ABCC website.
Gotcha.
So I'm just taking note of the process before we get into the questions about the. And I didn't see a floor plan.
Also, we have all that from when we did the seasonal.
Okay. Any other questions on the application submission documents for John and John?
Not on the application, no.
Okay. So seating capacity. What is the seating capacity at the Rudder?
140.
140?
Yes.
Yeah. And what will the operating hours be? Like, what is the intent? What would you serve lunch and dinner, just dinner, breakfast?
You know what? I should ask Michael that, but I think it's the same as what we applied for with the seasonal, which was dinner. Which was dinner.
Okay. And if you had a year-round license, you would be open January, February, and March full-time?
That is what they've told me, and that is what I'm representing.
I have a list of questions, but some I can't ask because I know the business hasn't opened yet, so I'm just going through my notes. And the menu? Is it gonna be
I think she's still, I think she's
working on it?
still playing with it.
I hear she's a great chef, so I'm sure whatever's on the menu is gonna be delicious.
I can't wait. I'm hoping to get paid in steak.
Will it be family friendly? Or are you gearing more towards adults, late dinner?
That's an interesting question. I know I'm going to answer it sideways because I don't know the complete answer to it, but I know that she cares very much about making it a restaurant where the local people are comfortable going, where it's
Yep.
not just people pulling up, in fancy boats. So that's the best way that I can answer that question is, I mean, it's not going to be Friendly's, but I think that she wants it to be a place where the people of, who live here can go and enjoy it. If you care about that question, if you want me to pursue that question, I'm happy to.
So there are other restaurants there. There's the studio and the new, I forget what they're called, the tin building. They're gonna be
The 12 seats.
Salted cod.
salted cod. So tell me how you think this business distinguishes from what they have to offer, or would you say it's similar? I know that's kind
Oh,
of a
no, not
question
similar.
with Barbara.
That's okay. I think that I want to be very respectful about how I answer that question.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I think that Barbara draws from a bigger pool. And I think that she has more experience with liquor licenses. I think that the folks with the studio are experienced with real estate. And even with real estate that's restaurant oriented. But I think that Barbara has more experience actually running restaurants from the ground up. So I think that if the license were to go to the Rudder, all the boats on Rocky Neck would float higher. I think that it would be a real engine for that area. And I think that the studio and the salted cod would benefit from it the same way that, for example, downtown has benefited from Tono and the hotel.
And would you say that Barbara Lynch is going to be on this site as opposed to her other restaurants more often? I mean, she's got a lot going on, so.
She has a lot going on. Of course, she has people,
Yeah, exactly.
to deal with the Boston restaurants. She has an apartment above the Rudder.
Oh, okay.
That she, from which she has been providing leadership. And she really genuinely loves it up here. She feels a real connection here. So she's certainly focused on it now. And I think I don't have any reason to think that, I mean, once it's open, I think that dynamic would change, let's be real. But she's going to be here as much as she possibly can because she really loves it.
Okay, hold on. Some city council is asking me to call them, but I have to tell them I'm in a meeting. So. Okay, and so the operational hours will be from dinner probably until what time do you think?
I'm trying to remember what's on the
Application?
whatever's on the seasonal license. I think it's her intent.
So you're saying it will be the same as seasonal?
That's my understanding.
And I'm just gonna throw this out there because I'm gonna ask anybody, have you had any neighborhood complaints? Anyone approach at all to come talk to you about any concerns?
No, the only question I get asked is when are you going to be open?
And how about police complaints? Have the police had to respond to the address for any reason?
No.
No. And would you say that alcohol is going to be a big part of the business? In other words, equally as important as the food being served?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to turn
I
it
mean,
over to.
If I could, I'm sorry, can I just say
Go
one
ahead.
more thing?
Go ahead.
I think they're also picturing having invitation events there, functions there, what they're calling salons there. I think that they're picturing trying to really maximize that location.
That's helpful. Okay, John and John. John Orlando, any questions? John, you're muted.
Sorry.
That's
So
okay.
since this is a 12-month license, year-round license, my assumption is she will be open all 12 months?
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
I mean, they might take a vacation in January, but
Okay.
that's the plan.
Okay. And is there, it's kind of a hard way to ask this, I'm not really sure. Does she have a 5-year plan, for instance? This is kind of hard. We're asking you instead of face-to-face with the principal, but do you know what her ultimate plan is?
That's a great question, John. I don't.
Okay. If
I
she were
can-
here,
I
I
can-
could have asked her.
I can talk to her about that.
Yeah,
I don't know if next Tuesday, when you do the Declan's hearing, if there'll be an opportunity for us the other applicants to answer questions.
or you could have her send it to Alice, send an answer to Allison.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to talk to her face to face, I'm happy to have her do that.
I would say that the public hearing is going to be open and closed tonight,
Okay.
and that we're not going to revisit because
Right.
just for sake of process and fairness and timing.
Fair enough.
John Lamrand, I'm sorry, John. My John.
Or too many Johns.
Yep.
So if it's open year round, have the renovations they've been doing to winterize the facility, or has it just been kitchen renovations?
They've been definitely doing more than the kitchen renovations. That's for sure. Although, for those of us familiar with the old letter, it still looks like that. They haven't completely, gutted it. But I think what I'm going to do, Madam Chair, is write a letter to the board answering some of these questions. And because I don't know the answer to that either.
So on that line, I don't know, John, if you're going to ask the question. It's my understanding that the rudder is not winterized, and that would require a lot of zoning board work. So has there been an attempt to get before the zoning board for any reason for the remodeling that you're doing now?
I'm not sure I understand why they would have to go to the zoning board.
I thought that they had to for salted cod because of the
I think they were
change in the
changing the
building.
use. I think for salted cod, they were changing the use from a non-restaurant to a restaurant. But this is not changing the use.
So it'd be working with the building inspector. So if they
I have
reach
to
out to
talk-
the building inspector to find out what would be needed to winterize,
Yeah, that's a good
and I
question.
don't believe they have heat in there, so
Yeah.
that's a big overhaul.
Yeah, let me find that out.
Allison, you're not aware of any building inspector activity with the rudder? I think I spoke with him today. I believe he told me there was none at this point. So any remodeling should be going through the building inspector's office, correct?
Absolutely.
So are you saying it's currently being remodeled? So there should be the activity going on with the building inspector's office?
Correct.
Okay, John Lammerin, I didn't mean to jump in. I just wanted to stay on
No.
the same topic.
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry, I apologize.
No. The presentation was very thorough, so we answered a lot of the questions, and Madam Chair and John have also, so I'm good.
Okay, so I'm gonna open the public hearing to see if there's anyone that would like to speak on behalf or in opposition of this application. If there is anyone that would like to speak to the Rutter's application for the annual year-round license, please raise your hands or press *9. I see none. So I'm going to close the public hearing. Attorney Fine, so as you know, we are not making the decision tonight because of the glitch with Declan's. But is there anything you want to say to us before we close the application process?
Thank you for the opportunity. The only thing that I would say is, and I am going to write a letter addressing your questions, is I think that the Rutter application gets the city the most bang for its buck. An open year-round restaurant all alcohol license is a precious gift. And I think that if you were to grant this to the Rutter, you could look back in 3 years, 5 years, you could look at that decision. And I think that you would be very pleased with the effect that it has on that neighborhood.
Thank you. Very nice.
So that raises a question for me.
Okay, go ahead.
Out of her Boston locations, none of them have closed. Are they all still open, operating, producing great revenue
Yes.
for the city? That's it.
We all set?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Attorney Fine. Do you have any questions for us before we move on to the next matter?
No, thank you very much.
Okay, great. So next Tuesday at 6:30 will be finalization of all the decision making we have to make on this issue. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to call Declan's Harbor Loop Inc., DBA Declan's 27 Harbor Loop.
No, Declan's not. You go.
Oh, he's here. Oh, it's Patrick Shea is here.
I thought we couldn't do Declan's.
No, we can start the conversation, but I want to have a conversation with him because he's here. So we just can't have the public hearing, right? So we could get the presentation tonight, and that's what I'm going to ask him.
Okay.
Patrick, can you state your name and address for the record?
Patrick Shea, 15 Pleasant Street, Ipswich, Mass. 01938.
Thank you. So as you're aware, we have a little glitch with your application, and I know you're here and watching, but I'm going to ask you, we are having a meeting next week specifically for you. So I'm going to ask, do you want to give your presentation tonight and then put off the public hearing until next week? Or do you want would it be more comfortable for you to do it all at once? I want to give you that opportunity.
I mean, I would love to give a presentation tonight since
Okay.
I just think if you guys are getting everyone's angle on it, I'd rather put my
Okay,
my note in the hat as well, and then we can open up the public hearing next week if that's okay with you.
absolutely. I just want to make this process as fair as possible, so I don't want anyone to feel slighted, and your application will be heard tonight,
Awesome.
with the exception of any public comment.
Okay.
Okay, so just give me a second because I want to get to your application. Declan. Okay. Is this something you want to share screen with?
No,
Nope, okay. And you can begin whenever you're ready.
it's just me. Well, thank you for having me, and for whatever turn of events. I know population size. I'm happy to hear there is a license available. When I originally went through the purchase last November, there was always a hope that an annual license would come about one way or another. But I was also happy in understanding that Rose had done a great business there with a seasonal license. And I do also have CK Pearl that is annual, and Rusty Can in Newbury that I'm a partner in that is also annual. And both the restaurants do really well. So at first take, going into this, I just figured this would be great. We can put something new, fun, exciting into Gloucester. And if the opportunity ever came for an annual license, that we would do what we could to try and obtain one. I think we opened in April 7th. I think I had I was rather ambitious in hopes for what the weather would bring for April and May. And we had probably one of the coldest springs we've had in years. But on the flip side of that, I try and find the good in that. And we were definitely able to nail down a lot of things and kind of feel out Gloucester a little bit. And I think we've landed in a good spot for our summer menu. But with the option, the possibility of having an annual license, sure is exciting because there's the obvious reasons of staffing, which my original plan was to run this right up till January 15th with a nice comfort winter local friendly menu, and possibility of Saturday brunch and trying to be a great place for some football games, and continue our live jazz brunches. That I just run it right up till January 15th and then take as many people as I can, some of our key players, and be able to insert them into CK, even if it meant carrying a heavy labor at CK just to retain some great employees that we have. And the other real big option that I was hoping on banking on for the October, November, December months was functions. And we have a really great space with 250 seats. And we lose 103 of those seats as soon as that deck closes. But I think with the lounge area being the way that it is with 68 capacity and high seating, and then our main dining room, which we revamped, put a $20,000 HVAC in so it could be cooler in the summer and warm in the winter. I thought that would really help us open up a nice space to be able to have dining and bar area, as well as really host some nice functions this winter was really what I was hoping to try and expand on through October, November, December. I think Rose had a really good run at functions in that front room. And that front room before, when it was Captain Carlos, was you could tell that Rose had put some money into it, and that it was versatile to be a bunch of different things. And when I walked in there, I thought, wow, this is a great function room, but it's also a really great dining room. And I think we've had a lot of success in showcasing it that way. So to have the versatility in the winter when it's not so crazy busy, to be both very function friendly while being able to carry bar business and dining business all at the same time, would be a really cool thing to do. From a sales point, yes, money runs businesses and money is important. We're about 60% food and 40% liquor right now. And we're on track to do, a little better than I had thought this summer. And we're up about 20% in the first 3.5 months than where I was at CK Pearl in my hometown in 2014 in total sales, which is great. And we're starting to see a lot of people from Essex come over as well. A lot of the locals that I see at CK are often at Declan's. What else did I want to touch base on? I think when it comes to the community of Gloucester, I think I really honestly feel that I'm in great presence of some long-lasting establishments. But if there's a spot in the downtown area that really represents what I always think encompasses Gloucester and the harbor and working fishing docks, etc., I don't see a whole lot of places outside of, you know, the Minglewoods and the soon to be Ember to Oak that really embrace what Gloucester Harbor is all about. And that's really all I have. What, you know, one other thing I want to touch base on was our bar is 24 seats.
That's
and-
inside,
What's that?
inside or outside?
Inside, yep. And you know, we configured the bar lounge area because Rose had the low top bench in there before, and we had turned that into all high tops, really in hopes to let it be, you know, an extension of the bar come the off season when football is big. And we've had a lot of events. We have a lot of events booked right now, and I can't say I'm getting a ton of sleep, but I'm really enjoying doing the CK Pearl and Declan's dance all summer long. And both places have CK is going to have its every year at CK has been its best year, even with COVID. COVID year was better than the year before, and that trend has been the best. It's been up 10% over the year before, at least every year. The Rusty Can has been up 15% year over year from the year before. And I'm hoping to do the same thing at Declan's.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask you questions that are similar to what was asked prior. I have a list of questions that I'm asking all applicants. So how many employees, I didn't get to ask Meredith this, or find this because they're not open, but how many employees do you employ at Declan's?
Well, that depends on the day. No,
Roughly,
no.
like, it doesn't have to be exact, but
No,
like, do
I was
you
just
have
joking
two
'cause,
chefs, 5
every day we
servers?
Wake up and say who's going to call out or who doesn't work here. Or
Yeah.
who we hire. Around 43,
43? Okay.
including myself. I'd say about 2/3 of that are full time.
2/3? Okay.
Yep.
Not going to lose a lot when they go back to school, I hope.
We will, but fortunately we have a bullpen at CK, which is going to have the same problem. But as long as we can get really cute about how to solve each other's problems, I think there's a way through it.
Great. And what are your operational hours? What would you intend them to be if you're open full time?
I would plan on them being identical to what they are right now. You know,
So
we
lunch
might-
and dinner?
lunch and dinner, possibly adding Saturday brunch. There's no shortcomings of great breakfast places in Gloucester,
Yeah.
7 days a week, but to be able to sit down and possibly hear some music, have a drink, and have the option of lunch and brunch you know, we're definitely not fine dining at Declan's, but in a really nice setting on the Gloucester Harbor, I think would be a real treat. You know, we'd probably open at 11:30 or noon instead of 11. And we probably close at 9 and bar at 10 instead of 10 and 11 would be the biggest changes. And the only thing I could think of is possibly closing on either a Monday or a Tuesday for the January, February area. But I was planning on running 7 days straight out. We're 7 days at CK minus Thanksgiving, Christmas. I do an employee outing in the summer and an employee outing in the winter. Other than that, we're open outside of big storms.
So it's your intention to be open January, February, March with some exceptions due to weather or slowness?
Yeah.
Local slowness, okay.
Yep.
Neighborhood complaints. We haven't heard any complaints about Declan's, but have you been approached by any neighbors for complaints?
Other than we're not bringing them barbecue when we fire up the smoker, we haven't had any complaints.
Well, you didn't think that you could own the Rusty Can and not bring part of that to Gloucester, did you?
No, no.
Come
I
on,
did
people
not.
around here talk about that business. Hint,
Yeah.
hint. And what about police response? Have you had to have any police respond for any issues?
We have had no police response.
In good standing with all your billing and alcohol purchases and food purchases?
Completely in good standing. We pay almost every week.
And I appreciate you sending those, the receipts from the distributor.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I had mailed over a couple because we'll go big for a week and then we get rain for 5 days and we don't order anything the following week. So
Okay. Would you say that you're a family-friendly restaurant?
I would say, I don't know that I could say we're the most family-friendly restaurant, but that was always the goal with CK, and it reigns true at Declan's as well. One of the
Okay.
best things we've had at Declan's is, we'll look at the books and go, it's Wednesday night, there's only 30, 40 people on the books. And then all of a sudden, all these 12, 16, 18 tops walk in and I said, who has 17 friends or 17 family members? And it's really great that we're able to just take them in.
Yep. That's part of being in Gloucester. So there's other businesses close by. I'm trying to think, you're down the end there. How do you distinguish yourself from other restaurants in Gloucester? And if you need time to think about it, that's okay. Tough question.
How do we distinguish ourselves from other restaurants in Gloucester?
And what you offer as a product.
My whole goal with Declan's was to bring a slight Southern California version of CK Pearl to Gloucester. Now you say Southern California to a lot of people in Gloucester and they go, huh? But, my wife's family is out in California. I've had friends and my own family out in California, and there's a really nice laid back vibe out there. There is wonderful street food and tacos and things that are really represent and embrace summer. And so when I walked into this just thinking, all right, we're going to be a seasonal license. Well, we're going to do exactly that in the summer, and in the winter, that's probably not going to fly. But what will fly is raw bar, a great cheeseburger, meatloaf, adding steak tips, having some really traditional New England cuisine with an elevated twist that has really paved our road at CK, and really getting a little bit more, not pubbish, but a little bit more weather vane, black cowish, if you will, come the winter months.
Okay.
Being able to kind of embrace those cold months and be somewhere that either a family or a group of guys want to watch a football game, can sit down and eat some nachos, eat some steak tips, but also get a really nice seared piece of halibut. So I think there's a couple restaurants in Gloucester that do that very well. And I know Tono has a great version of that with an Italian flair. I know Neil worked at Tono and is going for a live fire side of it, which I love, obviously with all the smoking. And we had considered an idea of that when we were walking into the purchase of Captain Carlos. And I think we're in great company with places that offer that, but I think the style and the niche of that with a tiny bit of California flair and a little bit of what's paid, done us really well and been well received in Essex for comfort winter food. Nice place to sit on the water and watch a storm. I don't think we've ever nailed it. And I guess that's what gets me out of bed every morning and excited about the day. But I think we've got a pretty good direction as to how to run with it.
Thank you. That's a good answer. And then this is kind of along those same lines, but why do you think you should have a year-round license? Like, sell me on it. Not that you haven't said a lot already, so. doesn't have to be constructive.
The three things I think of are sales growth, which at the end of the day is good for tax revenue, but I think I'm going to do these a little backwards as well. That's important. That's important for a business to run, but it's most important for a business to run because it allows housing for employees. I think I have 3 employees that travel from out of town, and the rest of them are all from Gloucester. And some of them have worked at Captain Carlos for years and are still with us and are shedding a lot of light and helping us amend ourselves to be what that space needs us to be. And so between, staffing and sales growth, which we've proven at other restaurants in similar communities, and just a desire to be there for the community, to fit and fill a niche that I don't think is not there in Gloucester, but it's not abundant.
Thank you. John Orlando, any questions?
I think I'm probably gonna ask everybody the same version of the same question that I asked, Meredith Fine. Where do you see yourself in 5 years or so? And let me back up on that. CK Pearl in Essex, how long did you say that was in business?
8 years, June 1st.
8 years. And
We're,
you've
we're
been
signing,
involved-
we're signing our lease, that this, in the next couple of weeks, that will get us till, 2039.
Okay, and you've been involved the whole 8 years?
Oh, yeah, everything to do with it, in the very beginning and still as much as I can be to today.
Okay, thank you. You've had a really good presentation, answered a lot of questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Orlando.
John Lammerin?
Patrick, can you talk to those functions in a little bit more details, what you've done already in the past, or this summer, and what you expect to do? Just a little bit more detail. You said you have lots of events already booked. So what type of events you doing?
So far we have had a couple post-wedding morning brunches, a couple rehearsal dinners. We held a really nice night out in the deck, which we're in the midst of trying to book some more of them for the local surf organization, the North Shore Surfers Association. We're talking about doing a live screen of some surf videos at the end of the summer, and the possibility of laying into fundraising with that. I have a couple baby showers planned for the end of August and September, a couple wedding rehearsals planned, and moving into fall winter, was hoping to continue that and then really try and make a good push at somewhere we could house a lot of corporate and local corporate company holiday parties.
And I might have missed it. So going back to, the building is winterized, or you did some work to winterize it? I know you mentioned something about AC and.
Yeah, so the building's fully winterized. When I walked in there, there was 2 half-ton units for the AC, and some baseboard heating. Now the main bar lounge area was warm all winter. The second we wanted to go step into the lounge, into the dining room, it was very cold. It was pretty interesting because you could walk in there, it could be 35 degrees outside. You walk in there in the morning, felt like it was 25 degrees in there in the dining room. But then by 2 o'clock, it felt like it was 70 because of all the windows in there. It turned into a greenhouse. So we spent ample amounts of money on window tinting and put in the $20,000 8-ton HVAC that is specifically it's only trunked into that room. So we've had great AC, with the exception of customers opening some of those slider doors on the hot days. And the heat, I can't even, after the last 2 weeks, I can't even wrap my head around turning it on, but I have pretty good faith that a brand new HVAC in that room with an 8-ton unit is going to heat pretty amply.
Great. No, and thank you for all the information. That was well presented. So thank you. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I know I don't have any questions. So the public hearing is an opportunity for the public to come forward and either speak on behalf or speak in opposition. So unfortunately, that opportunity is going to have to be put up until next week because of the public hearing. But I just want to let you know, and I'll remind everyone else going forward too. We've accepted that Attorney Fine is going to submit a document to us. We're not going to keep the conversation open. The application process is closed. It will just be public hearing next to hear from the public. But if you want to submit, I'm going to give everybody that opportunity. So if there's anything you want to submit further on behalf of your application, I would email it to Allison and she can distribute it to us.
If I can think of anything to get over, I will get it over by Friday. But I think I've touched all the main points.
I do want to ask though about your application. Allison, do we have the green receipts? Oh no, because he hasn't notified, or has he notified?
Yeah, I just got, we don't have anything from him yet, but I just got the cost from the Times. And he hasn't sent out his list yet, so he doesn't have anything.
So has his public hearing been advertised?
Not yet. Right? It was,
I thought we were gonna do that last week so that we met the 10-day deadline. Because now we're not gonna meet the 10-day deadline.
oh, did you send them out, Patrick? I don't have my dates wrong, so today is what?
When was the public hearing advertised already?
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
It should have been on the 5th.
Right, so we need to confirm that. Otherwise, we have to change the August 16th date. So we need to confirm that the public hearing was published on the 5th, which was a Friday, which is what we discussed. And did you send out, Patrick, any notifications to your abutters yet?
To the best of my knowledge, between the email strand between Allison and my attorney, is that they were all sent out.
Okay, we need those green receipts for the public for next week. If you get them in time. I know the mail system doesn't work as fast as it used to as well. But if you at least have the receipts to show that you mailed them out.
Did Allison, on the end of that conversation, was there anything stating that they were mailed out or not? Because I'm 99% positive that Joe Devlin had sent those out. And that was probably over a week and a half ago.
Right, I sent him and you the email telling you to send them out. I didn't get word that they were, but normally I don't. I just need the receipts, which I haven't received yet.
Okay. I had just texted him right now, hoping I get an answer here in the next couple seconds. If he responds to me, I know you're hearing some more cases. Can I not obviously in the middle of someone's presentation, but raise hand to let you know yes or no, or just shoot you an email?
You can just send us an email.
Okay.
We're gonna move on. But I just wanted to note that you do have all your other application documents have been presented. So it's just.
Okay.
And like I said, I know there was an issue with the public hearing, so I would expect that green receipts wouldn't be here yet.
Okay.
So unless you have any questions, we are going to move on to the next, knowing that this conversation is going to be continued to August 16th at 6:30
Okay.
for public hearing.
All right. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Patrick.
Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
Cheers.
The next matter to be heard is the Studio LLC, DBA The Studio, 51 Rocky Neck Ave. We have Attorney Ford.
I don't want to do that. Don't do that. No. I don't want to do that.
Shall I proceed?
You may. You have a big night tonight.
This is a big night. Good to be here. Michael Ford, Ford Law PC, 245 Sumner Street, East Boston, Massachusetts. With me, owner and manager of record, Stephen Whalen. Stephen, if you could introduce yourself and address.
Steve Whalen, 95 Welland Road, Brookline, Mass.
And if I may, I think I have the ability to do this. Just if I could share my screen.
Absolutely.
Okay, do this here. All right, and do you see just one PowerPoint? I'm unable to play it as one whole screen, but are you able to see that adequately?
We see.
Okay, so here it is. It's the studio, and you know it. It's been here for decades. I think it's 70 years, not under the same ownership, but under the operation and ownership of Fred Starikoff and Steve Whalen. They're here seeking to make it even better by applying for the annual alcohol license. As the board may be familiar with, they acquired ownership of the studio within the last year, and right out of the gate, they've been operating with a seasonal license, and they've been operating it well. They're all in. This is not a lease situation. This is where they own the real estate. This is where they're improving the real estate. This is where they're coming to Gloucester. They're showing their commitment, and you can see it with the other petition that was on there for Topside. They're in this. What have they done so far with this place? They've revamped the menu. They've livened up the space, cosmetic updates. And what they've done is bring craft cocktail ideas from Boston and to sort of dovetail it and integrate it into sort of the fabric of Gloucester. Again, the owners are Fred Starkoff and Steve Whalen. They are 50-50 partners. I think someone had said before that they're mainly a real estate company. That may have been a little off in a misspeak, because yes, while they do have success in real estate, while they have shown a fantastic track record and experience speaks volumes, when they came into the restaurant, bar, and hospitality business, they're close to 10 places, just like that, operating them and doing and providing a great product. I'll just go to the other slide as I go into the next portion. Everything is going to stay the same, no operational changes. I would highlight, and this is important because when we get to the public need, when we get to chapter 138, when we get to the Ballerin case, which I think is being referred to, you're looking at 230 indoor seats. Of course, 115 during the summer, but the real focus of the annual is that 230 indoor seats. Also, what's important is they're operating to 12 a.m. They're providing that for the public now. And I'll get into that when we talk about each one of the elements of public need. Just show you the floor plan, which obviously has the deck, but shows the hall inside that they have been improving and updating. And most importantly, as we moved to the menu, and I know it might be difficult to see because there's a lot of things on it. And you see that between this slide and then the next slide, they carry quite a wide variety of items on their menu. I would note they have a kids menu, trying to cast the net and appeal to as many people as possible. Now, just because this is a new license application, there's a bunch of people in the mix. And I know it's been hit on, but under chapter 138, section 23, the two prongs are public need and common good. And while there's not a lot of case law on dealing with chapter 138, public need and common good, the one case that we all go to is the Ballerin case, which is the 49 Mass App Court 506. It's a 2000 case, and this is key. It's not need in the literal sense. That's not what the statute's all about. This is from the case. Rather, the test includes an assessment of public want and the appropriateness of the liquor license at a particular location. And the factors that I know this board has outlined and council is to look at the sort of operation that carries the license, traffic, noise issues. How about desires of the community at large? That's certainly one of the factors under the Ballerin case. Reputation of the applicant. It's absolutely on the it's on the table. And I'm going to hit each one of these for you. We're asking to be granted the opportunity so that we have the ability to serve the community. This isn't about our books. This isn't about our bottom line. This is about serving the community. And one of the nice things that Fred Starkoff and Steve Whalen do is they come in there and they show you what they deliver. And if you've heard them in the past, and this is something the board can consider based upon your knowledge of the community and the licensees that exist now, you see where they're thinking. They're thinking about the community. They're thinking about the customers. It's a local spot. It will provide ability to serve the needs of the neighborhood during the off-peak months. You know it's a water location. You know it's a beautiful location. It's got to be built to be more and more of a destination location. There are, obviously, and this affects everybody, there's challenging environments for hiring. So when you can't maintain a year-round team, can you get over that hurdle? Sure. But if you have a year-round team, it enhances everything because of the people that you can attract to really come in here and work and make it what they do. The public need, and sort of hit each one here. I think if you look at the past, that you got 70 years here, it shows you de facto there's a need here, and it's a need that can only grow. My client is here to tell you this after I finish my presentation. Talk to patrons. Ask them, will you come here? Is this something that you want? The response that they're getting with respect to this would be great. We can be here year round. This is a place that we could go to when it's off season. The staff is excited. We've submitted, I don't know if we have submitted the letters of support from people in the community. And I hinted upon this in the beginning of the presentation in dealing with the number of seats. You're talking about 230 indoor seats, and just from a mathematical equation, you're going to be able to get the most amount of impact. I think we've heard it, members of the board here, of you want to be able to see is many members of the Gloucester community, the people who come to Gloucester, to be able to have that need filled. And what better than to have that many seats. Going to reputation, it's an experienced operator, an extremely experienced operator. Traffic, we all know it can be tough down there, but that's something that affects everyone. And Steve Whalen can talk about this later. They are actually exploring and been working on, because sort of they're creative about using courtesy vans with respect to hotels and lodging and the like. If the cars coming to the location are a challenge, we'll bring it to you. Noise, I think we were here a couple of months ago, and I sat here before you in front of the computer, and we made promises. They've delivered. As far as any complaints, I've asked Steve. I think they've worked with a person who had some concerns, and they haven't heard anything yet. And then, of course, since this is an annual, there would be the outdoor component. Well, you can draw. We know what that means. It's going to be year round. You're not going to have outdoor seats in the during the winter. I just want to go through again this manager of records, Stephen Whalen, who sits here before you. And I want to hit everything on here, because this is his reputation. This is his experience. This is his ability to deliver. Owner and manager of the studio. Just a few moments ago, one other topside just in Gloucester, the Tamworth Saloon, Beacon Hill Pub, Sullivan Saloon, and then RFO Sullivan's, which the city escaped me in the last presentation, is in Somerville, where they took a old, long time part of the community, revamped it, opened it, breathed life into it, and it's now just a booming business with both alcohol and food. Telegraph Hill Tavern in Alston, Silhouette Lounge, Thirsty Scholar, and of course the operation of City Realty. And I'll mention it because somebody else mentioned it. Charity, especially Steve Whalen, he's no stranger to that. It escapes me, had created the nonprofit City Kids, which they utilize monies that they raise and they throw it back into the community. I'll let Steve hit on that if you ask. No arrests, nothing, no criminal convictions, tip certified, Mass resident, US citizen, familiar with your regulations and the ABCC. And he's gonna be he's the man, he's the owner, he's the manager. So in here, I think not only have we presented the support for each one of the elements of public need, I'd submit to you that we've given you a heap of it. My clients, they want to be here in Gloucester. They want to make their places the best possible places in Gloucester. The public need is going to be absolutely met. The common good is going to be met. And with that, we ask you to grant the petition, and Steve is here to answer any of your questions.
Thank you. So I just want to go back like I did the first time. I'm just going to look at the application process, and it looks like all the documents that were required were filed. I see you have your green receipts for notifying abutters. All the supporting documentation is in the packet, so I thank you for that. So Steve Whalen, would you like to say anything, or would you like to us just question you?
I mean, we love the studio. We love its history. We think, just jumping into the 5-year question, the first year was just getting open, and I think everyone saw us open up in a very difficult environment very rapidly. So we have the ability to do that. Our second year will consist of just fine-tuning the dining experience and our food experience. And then years 3 through 5, we want again to regain the status of really one of the exceptional places on Gloucester Harbor to dine. Studio is a scene, and we're proud to carry that tradition forward. We also noticed some stuff in the first year. One was the parking situation, and we're going to experiment with a Sprinter van. It seats, I think, 12 or 14 people. We're just figuring out the stops now. We'd probably stop at the hotel, the beach, and then, maybe a couple other spots. And that would take a little bit of pressure off people having to park right on the street, right there. So those kind of things are, strategically what we're seeing and noticing our first year that we'll start to implement. And, there's other things, but I think that will be a big, kind of service to Rocky Neck once we get that up and running. I think that's it. I'm ready for questions.
On that line with the parking, is there an ability, and I don't know Rocky Neck enough, but there's that big parking lot when you pull in. Is that for residents or is that public parking? When you start, can you have a van go back and forth to there for parking?
Yes,
or?
yeah, that was mentioned as one of the stops. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's usually pretty full.
Is it? Yeah, residents. Okay. Just tell me about City Kids.
So City Kids, I started, it's about 10 years now. I was walking through some apartments and I saw that the kids didn't really have any books in the apartment. So it started very humbly where we just got all of our tenants National Geographic, because I always saw that as, kind of whenever I got that magazine, it was, it had things across the board educationally. Then shortly thereafter, my mother passed away, and she was an educator and a true, to the heart educator. So that inspired me even more to give kids tools and inspirational experience and educational experiences so that they spark intellectual curiosity and spark them on the path of education. We do a lot of stuff in Boston as well as internationally, and we'll start to do some stuff in Gloucester. During COVID, a lot of it was handing Chromebooks to kids. Just a lot in Boston, a lot of the Chromebooks did not work, so we literally handed out hundreds of Chromebooks. You know, I don't want to go on forever. We have it on our website what we do recently, but we also like to have fun with the kids. So last Friday I was out in New Hampshire. We do an annual surf camp with Cape Verdean kids from Dorchester, and that's been going on for 5 years. I'll be in Nepal in October, you know, doing some stuff in Nepal. When you go to jail, your kids go to jail with you. So I teamed up with PA Nepal, who builds boarding schools for the kids while their parents are in jail, where they keep the connection with the parents, but they don't have to be exposed to, you know, that. So I'll be out there with that, and we're a big supporter of that. But you know, that's it's been a really gratifying part of what we do, and my team really embraces that aspect. You know, you can say all you want about millennials, but one good thing about millennials is they like that piece to give back. So if you have that, you know, it really, you know, brings the team together. So that's City Kids.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Good to hear. Okay, so I heard 230 indoor seats. Does that include the bar area as well, the bar seats?
Yep. Yeah, that's every single one.
That's total indoors, okay.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm just running through my list, and I know you've answered a lot of them, so so we shared that the board has a concern about restaurants staying open and being open because there's so many licenses underutilized right now that we're starting to be concerned. So if you were granted a year-round license, I don't know that the studio is fully winterized. What changes would be made, or are you going to make those changes anyway, knowing if you're staying open till January, it's cold?
Yeah,
in January?
I mean the windows need to be addressed with more weather-proof windows. Augmenting the heat with electric baseboard, as well as upgrading the HVAC system. You know, and other than that, we may have a bit of insulating on the walls because they're not so thick, but that's what we do in our real estate company. We have a full construction component, so we do that kind of stuff every day.
Okay, and I must disclose, in my years of living in Gloucester, I think I've worked at every restaurant down Rocky Neck with the exception of the Rudder. We had the Madfish, or the Dockside it was called at the time, the studio. And I'm wondering what you're going to do with the kitchen, if anything, because I can't imagine how you get all that food out in that area. So is there any plan to upgrade the kitchen?
Yeah, we're going to take a look with our chef, Chef Doug Papau. I call him Papau, but it's Papau's. He's an excellent chef. We'll be looking for his guidance as far as what he sees as a good layout when we have the breathing room, which is your January kind of time period.
So you're looking at that.
Yes.
And do you have any business before the zoning board or the building inspector's office now? Are you working with them on any projects, or you're just running your business?
In Gloucester, we have nothing in front of.
Nothing before them, okay. And if you get the year-round license, you'll plan on being open year-round with maybe some days here and there, vacations?
Yeah.
But the intention is to be available to the public?
Yes, and we like the staff continuity that provides. So, you know, as I discussed before, having the core staff just there and not having to reassemble the team every year is definitely a bonus.
Neighbor complaints. Did I hear, was it mentioned that there might have been a concern, which to be honest with you, there's always been a concern?
Yeah, we had one neighbor that complained about about the music. And, you know, we talked with her, we adjusted, and we haven't heard anything. And I think she seems to be okay at the moment. So that's a month, you know, that we've been good with her, and we are very interactive with our neighbors, so they know where to reach us.
And just a note for the record, there have been no complaints before the board. I just picked up on what was mentioned earlier. So we haven't received any complaints. And police department responses for any reason?
We had one slip. It was an ambulance response, but it was one of our staff members, and she's okay.
Thank you. So menu. So knowing that there's other restaurants near you, whether they're opened or not, it doesn't appear that they are, but how would you describe yourself as being different? What differentiates you from the others?
I think our sushi bar is awesome. I mean, that's one differentiator. Our chef on our regular side of the menu, Chef Doug, is, I think, phenomenal. I think once we get to the battle of, like, we missed the chowder contest this season, but I think next season you're gonna see his chowder, because I tell everyone, get the chowder, get the sushi, you know, as must-haves. His chowder's awesome.
A little inside info. The city's talking about your lobster. What are they? The Rangoons?
Yeah.
And I was there on Sunday, and I wish I had ordered them because I saw them on the menu, and I'm like, oh no, I'm just gonna get some shrimp. But I've heard nothing about. But I've heard more about lobster Rangoons in the past couple of days from there. So know that those have a good reputation.
He makes them by hand, which is
Does
very
he?
cool. Yeah.
I'll be back soon to try them. Okay, I do not have any other questions. John Orlando. Unmute, please. Still muted.
There it is.
There you go.
Okay, so the studio's been open for 70 years, or at least located there for 70 years, still has the name The Studio. You had a list on the screen of several restaurants that you're involved with. Can you tell me off the top of your head, some said opening soon, some said reopening. How many of those have been in your wheelhouse, and for how long?
So we started in restaurants in 2018. So the TAM has been ever since the beginning. Then we have, like, just going through the list, Beacon Hill Pub has since been sold. So that one's no longer on our list. That was sold recently, in part to buy Scores Boston, which is right across from the Garden, which will be great. RFO Sullivan's recently opened. Thirsty Scholar, about a year, you know, battling with COVID on that one. Telegraph Hill, about a year. Silhouette, about a year and a half. Alston Hall is a building we're building right now, so that'll come online in about a year. It's actually Alston Rock City, which is a music venue. That's coming online in October. Jacob Worth is historic place that we worked with Historic for a year and a half, just renovating, and we'll be opening that in the fall. And Sullivan's Tap we've owned since 2018. I think I got them all.
Okay, so one thing that I'm concerned about is that one of my personal criteria for a license is that it not be a pass-through, it not be a license that you would get today and then 4 years from now sell it and invest in another restaurant and go on. So do you have a 5-year, 10-year plan? I think you had said something year 3. Did you go beyond the year 3?
No, I said year 3 through 5.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the first year was just getting up and running. I think if you look across the landscape, there were a lot of our peers that had real trouble with that, as did we, but we were able to get up and running. And that's through just hard, dedicated work. And that's the kind of work that gets you through the hard times like COVID and the other things. Also our strategic thinking. I think bringing the van to that location into Rocky Neck is going to help the business. Year 2, we want to fine tune the dining experience. That's our focus. We'll be through all of the aches and pains of an open on the fly, for lack of a better word, and just fine tuning that experience. And then years 3 through 5 and beyond is to reestablish the studio as the scene that it's always been. It's kind of been diminished a bit over, it seems to go through ebbs and sways. So we want to bring it to the point where it's the finest it's ever been, past that point.
Okay, thank you. I do want to compliment you on your understanding about retaining your employees through the winter by staying open all winter and keeping them on. I'm not so sure a lot of our businesses here in Gloucester realize that they lose a lot of their help when they lay them off. But
Yeah,
thank you.
our team is that's the restaurant, that's the asset.
Right.
We have one new star there that I think will rise into, she's assistant manager now, but she's a local, her name's Hope Spiegel. She was in San Diego for a while and now she's back in Gloucester and she's back to stay. So we're really kind of grooming her to be a big part of our Gloucester presence. So, we're going to have fun with her and the team.
Thank you.
Welcome.
John Lehman?
Oh, you stole my winterized piece, and
I know, sorry.
John took my, I have a similar concern as John in regards to lots of new openings, lots of things coming soon, and lots of balls in the air juggling, and what's to say that, Gloucester, now you have Topside, right? So what's to say Gloucester is one of those balls that get dropped?
Yeah.
Right? So that's just, how can you, I know you can't guarantee anything, nothing's guaranteed, but it goes back to John's point, 3 to 5 years, 10 years down the road. And the commitment.
My partner and I have been juggling balls since we started. We both, I grew up in Maine, and not in, I did not have, I wasn't a wealthy person, growing up. So everything that I made on my own. That's come from hard work, dedication. We saw a niche in the restaurant industry, and we also saw a passion ourselves. We really enjoy it. So that drives us. I mean, I don't think anyone could have opened up the studio faster than us. We have industry professionals that started before us that are more veteran than us, that weren't able to, but that was through grit and determination. Will we stick with it? Yes. We like this aspect of our business. I like running teams. I feel like I'm just getting started with the teams in Gloucester. Once I have that built out, it's going to run like a fine-tuned machine. And when that happens, then, we're at 5 years and beyond as far as success in the neighborhood. We'd like to expand. We feel like we've been a good neighbor, thus far, and looking to continue that.
Thank you. Presentation, the information was great too. So thank you for the slide.
Thanks.
I just have one further question. Are you going to do any type of brunch, early morning service, or is it going to be lunch and dinner?
We were talking about that, and we're in discussion. I'd like to have a line of breakfast sandwiches. So we're talking with Chef Doug right now. to see if that makes sense for us from a staffing perspective, and also if we have the customer base for that.
Just, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the Gloucester hours, you can start serving at 8 a.m. for alcohol Monday through Saturday, and then 10 a.m. on Sunday. So we know that there's a shortage of places for breakfasts with someone wants to have a Bloody Mary or a mimosa or something. There's not much available in Gloucester.
Awesome. I'll definitely take it under advisement.
Okay, is there any further questions? I'm just going to open the public hearing. So is there anyone that would like to speak in favor or opposition of this application? Can you please raise your hand or press *9? I don't see anyone, so we will close the public hearing. Is there anything else you would like to tell us? As you heard, we are continuing our debate until next Tuesday. But is there any last words you would like to say to us before we move on to the next applicant?
Thank you for the opportunity. It's been great working with the board, and we're looking forward to working with you many years in the future.
Thank you. Very impressed by your presentation and what you're doing in the city. And like I said, I was there on Sunday and had a great experience, great staff, friendly. It was crowded. So it's all good what you're doing. Please keep up the good work.
Little hot.
Yeah.
Little hot. It's been hot.
It was. Okay, thank you. And as I told before, if there's anything else you want to submit to us, we're going to allow that opportunity since we're allowing it with the first applicant. So just send an email to Allison and she can distribute it to us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, it's 9:21. We'll go on to the next. J&Z Gloucester Foods LLC, DBA George's Restaurant and Bar located at 178 Washington Street. And I know we have Zorba. And is there anyone else that needs to be promoted for this matter? Zorba, if you can hear us, can you state your name and address for the record, please?
Absolutely. My name is
Thank you.
Robert Knickstein. My address is 13 Spring Street in Gloucester.
Thank you. Okay, let me just switch over to your application, so just give me a minute. Zoe, you have a presentation. Do you want to present it to us?
Yes, please.
Okay, you can, I believe you have share screen ability.
Yep. Is it working yet? I can't tell.
Not yet.
Can you see this?
Nope.
No.
I can't. Somebody else might be able to.
No.
There we go.
Excellent.
Got it.
All right. So this is our annual license application. Myself, I'm one of the owners, and I will also be the manager of record. Start from the beginning. I moved to Gloucester when I was 7 years old. I've always lived here since I was 7. I graduated Gloucester High School in 2001. I started working in restaurants, catering at like 19. And then my first restaurant waiting job was at Alchemy when it first opened in 2004. I then worked at the Madfish Grill for 2 seasons as well. And then I went back to Alchemy after that, and I worked with the Serenity Restaurant Group until 2019. I was a server and a bartender at Alchemy. At LAT, I was a server, a bartender, also an assistant general manager. They then promoted me in the same company to GM over at Hale Street Tavern. I held a liquor license for 6 years in Beverly, all alcohol license without any incident. I then served a little bit at the Ritz-Carlton in St. Thomas. And then my last job before George's was at Polana Prime Steakhouse, bartending over there. And so it's just myself and my business partner, the only owners of George's. It is the only restaurant that we are owning and have a part in. We don't have any other side businesses or anything like that, financial additions. So George's began as a corner market in the early 1900s. So it's been over 100 years it's been around, and then it turned into a restaurant, starting with breakfast sandwiches. It's always served locals, fishermen, families, and friends. We've had seasonal licenses. This is the second year. Dean got one previously when he had the bar built. But yeah, I think other than Virgilio's, it's between Virgilio's and George's is the longest running restaurant in the city of Gloucester. We have tried not to change too much since it's already been a popular, successful business, and we keep reasonable prices and great, homemade food. And we serve locals, we serve tourists, we serve everybody. As for community outreach, we kind of do whatever people want. We donated chowder for the Cape Ann Open Door recently. We sponsored the Gloucester High School. We give gift cards basically to anyone who asks: American Legion, AMVETS, GHS track and field team, Trinity Congregational Church, Adventure, Schooner, like basically anyone, if they are doing a golf tournament or whatever they want, we're happy to help out and, donate a gift card. We donate food to the concerts on the boulevard, to all the crew there that gets everything set up, and they share our little flag thing up there. We allow Girl Scout cookies to be sold out front. The sports teams like the Riverdale Rockets, we're doing canning, and we just always try to support local business whenever we can. We get all our seafood from Turner's in Gloucester. So yeah, we try to do what we can. We are already open full year. We are open 12 months out of the year. We had to close a couple times because of snow. Days that we couldn't drive, I live 1 mile away from the restaurant, and I walked here to shovel to be open. We open at 6 a.m. 7 days a week. We serve dinner 6 days a week. Sunday is the only night we don't do dinner because Sundays are insanely busy. So we give everyone the night off. Despite not being able to serve alcohol last winter, we did stay open year round. We had to lay off a quarter of our employees because of the loss of business. Normally throughout the year, we have about 30 full-time employees. The entire 10-week period of not having a liquor license, we operated at a loss. And yeah, it was definitely tough to see people walk in, see we don't have alcohol when we're already quite slow, and then walk right back out. We would be using the liquor license immediately if we were granted it by the city. We don't need to do any winterizing. We don't need to find out if a different meal service would work because we are already doing it. And almost 85% of our business approximately is dine-in, and we do about 15% takeout. When we're very busy, we do unfortunately have to shut down takeout, but it's to better serve the guests in the restaurant. We have a 7-seat bar room, and we employ 4 bartenders. So a 7-seat bar and bar room, sorry. In the summertime, we average about 2,000 guests a week. And in the winter, we average about 1,000 guests a week. Many restaurants close in Gloucester in the winter. I actually worked at Madfish as well, like I mentioned, and I don't think the reason that they weren't open in the winter was lack of year-round liquor license. I think it was lack of business. I remember Madfish going until about Halloween, and the last couple months were quite bleak to say the least. We have solid year-round business. Sugar Magnolias is the only other larger breakfast place in Gloucester, and they do close for the winter months. And as you all noted, there's only one option for alcohol with food before 11 a.m. in the city, Beauport Hotel. And we try to serve families and locals, and some people aren't able to afford the prices at, different establishments that have a lot more capital put into them. And other than severe winter storms, which, we really weren't able to get our employees here, we were open every day other than, the normal Christmas and holidays like that. And a lot of our regulars are locals who are within walking distance, and having a cozy bar within walking distance would make a big difference. I hear all the time from my guests how much they wish they could come and how much they want to be able to get a drink here year round. And a lot of people don't want to drive when it's snowing or dangerous out, and they are able to walk downtown, or not able to walk downtown, but they are able to walk to us. We are in a mixed commercial residential area. And both Rogers and Main have several restaurants and bar with year-round liquor licenses. So I've been working in the restaurant business for about 20 years, and I have been a server, a bartender, and a manager, and I have 0 violations of my own or in any place that I've ever managed. I always ID appropriately. I've refused service to anyone who didn't have proper ID or was unable to continue to consume drinks. And my entire staff is tip certified as well as myself. Well, my entire staff who serves drinks is certified as well as myself. Our first year, we had approximately 1.6 million in sales, which the city benefits with its local tax. With a year-round liquor license, that could definitely see improvements and bring more money to the city. And in conclusion, I just want to say we would love the license just as anyone else would. I think we'd be the best recipient. We are local small business owners. We have one business between the two of us. The money that we got to buy the business was a condo that I bought and owned for several years and then sold, and then used all that money to go into the restaurant. I was kind of tired of working for other people and I wanted to give it a shot on my own, but we are not backed up by any financial institutions. We're not, we don't have any other partners other than the two of us. We serve the most residents of any breakfast place in the entire city, and most of our business is from guests who dine in the restaurant, not takeout. And just to reiterate, sorry, we don't need to make any changes to be open for the winter. We don't need to hire anyone, any bartenders. We don't need to construct any bars that aren't already there, and everything is already in place. And just thank you for your time. Yeah, that's my presentation.
Thank you, Zorba. Sounds like you are ready to go.
I saw that I could do a PowerPoint. I haven't done that in like 20 years, so I figured I'd give it a shot.
Thank you. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Want to know for your application process was excellent. You submitted everything that is required. So I thank you for that.
Absolutely. I'm sure Allison is sick of me always popping in and checking what else I need to do, or if I'm missing anything, or calling her all the time.
Yeah, I actually like when people call her all the time. Don't tell her that. I'm just looking real quick. And thank you for your invoices.
Absolutely.
Very helpful.
And again, we do like some bi-weekly stuff too. We'll like stock up every other week. So we don't have a full order every week. We need to hit a minimum. So,
Yep. So I think you mentioned it because you said so much in such a great time period. Did you tell me so you said you had over $1 million in revenue. Do
Yep.
you know the breakdown for sales of alcohol versus food?
Our
If you don't,
alcohol,
that's okay.
yeah, no, it's approximately 13 or 14% of our overall sales. But I feel like part of the reason it's lower is because we don't have a late night bar crowd, and
Yep.
most of our sales are from breakfast. We have about, I think we are about 73% of our sales are breakfast, and about 27 are from after 2:30 p.m.
What did you say was breakfast?
73% of our sales, total sales.
Okay. And I just want to know for the record, I was in your place yesterday and I had the best omelet I've ever had in my life. So I think
Awesome.
that
Thank you very much.
it was delicious and the service was excellent. Okay, so I'm sorry, how many employees did you say you had? 35?
We have 30 employees.
30 employees.
Yep.
And you're in an area that I think Azorian would be the closest bar to you, and then the Rum Line.
Yes.
You're the first restaurant that is seen coming into Gloucester right now because Saltwater is closed.
We are.
Okay, Azorian and Rum Line. Talk to me about parking. I am surprisingly surprised that there's been no complaints about parking over there. Tell me about how it's working, because it seems to be working very well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a considerable amount of just on-street parking up and down Washington Street. And if you're willing to walk a little bit, you can, between our restaurant and like the train tracks, it's almost all parking on both sides of the street is available. And then we have a lot of residences within, a couple blocks from us. So people don't even have to drive. A lot of our regulars just walk there. So, that's cars taken off the road that we don't really have to worry about when we're right around the corner.
So when you first applied for your license, I think it was you that we talked to, or maybe it was even Dean, but I think it was when we did your transfer. There was, you were working with the owners of the variety store across the street. Do you use their parking lot? I thought that was an option at first, maybe?
No, it's not an option at
You
this.
haven't had a need, no option, okay.
No, it might have been Dean. I don't believe we ever discussed that with them.
I think it might
I
have
think,
been
I think
Dean
it was Dean.
applied for the seasonal, okay. But you haven't seen a need, and you haven't had any neighbor complaints about noise, parking, anything?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Police responding to anything besides car accidents that happen there all the time?
So many car accidents. We had someone faint a little over a year ago, and
Okay.
an ambulance had to be called, but it was not alcohol or anything related. I think they just were out in the sun too much. I'm positive, actually, they didn't even order a drink. They just came in and fainted.
Okay, I'm not laughing that they fainted, it's just funny in this conversation for some reason. So you're very family friendly.
We have stickers, we have coloring books, we have kids menus for breakfast, we have kids menus for dinner. We sing happy birthday when you come in on your birthday. We have tons of high chairs. A lot of my wait staff has been working for us for, about 8 to 10 years. So they see from the pregnant moms to the toddlers to the elementary school kids. So we're very family friendly.
Have you ever had any issues with underage trying to get alcohol?
I have not had any issues with any underage service or anything like that. I'm always very thorough to tell my staff, check the ID, check the expiration date, make sure it's them. Anyone who looks anything under 40, they are definitely checking all the IDs, and I probably harp on them a little too much about it, but I'd rather be safe than sorry.
All right, so I didn't get ID there, so you're saying I don't look under 40?
No, they must all talk. Who was your server?
We were in the bar, we sat at the bar. It was
Oh,
great
no.
service, I'm just kidding
All
with you. Let's see. Drinks that are served, I see you do some specialty cocktails in there.
Yeah, so when I was at Hale Street, I contributed to the beverage program as well. We do a bunch of infusions. We do a black pepper Bloody Mary infusion. I do a smoked chipotle pepper tequila to do Bloody Marias. We are always looking for new mimosa flavors. We do Irish coffees. We're definitely breakfast, lunch heavy because that's when most of our business is. But I increased the drink menu to have both breakfast and dinner drinks available all times of the day. So if you want a Bloody Mary at 8 at night with your dinner, you're more than welcome to get it. So we just try to give as many options as we can.
Yeah, I noticed the back wall, you have a lot of alcohol displayed for the size of that restaurant, so that was impressive.
Yeah, the bourbon list was lacking before we came in, and I'm a bourbon guy, so I wanted to increase that a little bit.
Well, I saw my favorite scotch there and I was impressed by that, so.
Excellent.
Okay, not about me, this is about you. So how would you say that you distinguish yourself different from other businesses? Not necessarily in your neighborhood because there's not much there in your neighborhood, but how would you say your business is different and that you're deserving of this license?
I just feel like we're local. Like I've lived in Gloucester basically my whole life. This is our only business. We don't have the ability to afford $100,000 year-round liquor license from another business. I feel like a lot of the applicants do, especially those who own multiple, different locations. And we are probably the most family-friendly place applying for this license. We try to have affordable prices so people can come multiple times a week. This is not a special occasion place. We have people who come in for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We try to be a local place. Everyone knows about everyone's lives. Like we try to not just serve people, but connect with them.
And if you were to be open year round, would your menu change at all at night? Or would you try to enhance any part of your business? Or like, would your hours change or what would happen?
We would try to just keep it going, just have the added ability to serve alcohol. Dinner, honestly, if we're not able to get the year-round liquor license, I don't know that we could continue operating dinner over the winter because we were operating at a loss every week. Luckily, we had saved just enough to make it through the winter, especially with that COVID spike in January. The sales were down considerably from the year before when the seasonal license had been extended year-round. So that was kind of some of the numbers that we had looked at from Dean's sales the year before. And we were not really close to what he was able to achieve, being able to serve alcohol year round.
Okay. John Orlando.
You're muted.
All right, so Zorba,
Yes.
where are you gonna be in 5 years? I'm asking you direct because I know John wants to have a version of that question.
Absolutely. I'm a lifer. I'm in it to win it. I've lived in Gloucester since I've been 7 years old, and I want to have a family here. I want to settle down. I want to buy another property in Gloucester once I can save up enough to again, which might take a little longer than I was expecting, but you know, we just do the best we can. And I've always worked for other people, and I've always excelled and been promoted and been offered higher positions. And this is finally a chance to work for myself and really build something. My business partner is the chef. He was the chef for about a year before I came on board working for Dean. And yeah, I want to have this be something that's in my life yeah, I want to make this work and have it be one of the main things that I do. I'm here 6 days a week. I have 1 day off. I don't know how I squeak that out, but I am bussing tables 6 mornings a week, running food, hosting, like everything. Like I don't know how to not do work if it's in front of me. So I just try to help the team, and you know, I want to have this be something that's always in my life moving forward.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good luck.
Thank you.
John Lamine.
Well, I already know you rent-a-rise, so that's not a question I can ask. I know you said you had 7 bar seats. What's the total capacity with the dining room area?
We have 65 total seats.
65, okay.
Yeah.
I might have missed that.
At some point, if we were able to get the year-round license, we have 4 counter seats that are right by the kitchen. I might see if it's possible to maybe convert some of those into more bar seats, because that's one issue we do have with the bar, especially at dinner, is that it fills up so quickly with only 7 seats that people generally stop trying to get to the bar, knowing that it might just be full. So, you know, but that's not anything that's within the next like year or two. We'd have to definitely save up for a while to do any kind of renovation like that.
My next question, you say you're more of a breakfast kind of lunch crowd you have there.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts on trying to increase the capacity or increase the dinner revenue, you know, if you are given this license?
So we've already been doing, we tried to do industry night on Mondays to get more people in, and that has not really been so successful. Tuesday nights, we do a burger night. Wednesday night, we do a taco night. Thursday night, we do a half price app, 1 per person. So we're trying to think of different ways to get people in. We're thinking about maybe trying to do a limited breakfast menu for dinner as well, to add on to our current dinner menu, because that's one of the things that people say that they are looking for, is they want to still be able to get, you know, pancakes at 7 at night or something like that. So we're looking at different things, and we're just trying to be really open to input and feedback. I mean, just from living in Gloucester for as long as I have, I didn't go to George's as much as Sugar Mag sometimes, because I didn't like the coffee as much, and I didn't like the home fries as much, and I didn't like the omelets as much. But since we've come on board, we've gotten better coffee, we've changed the way we cook our home fries, and I'm not sure if you got an omelet or a scramble, but I'm a scramble guy all the way. And that wasn't even clear that it was an option with the way the menu was set up before. So we tried to really change the menu, make it a lot clearer, more concise, and customer friendly.
Thank you.
So just so you know, I had the omelet, my friend had the scramble, and I wish I got the scramble, but the omelet was still the best I ever had. So whatever you're doing good for breakfast.
Thank you. We have some amazing cooks back there.
Sorry, John.
No, that's all, Madam Chair.
Okay. One more thing. Tell me about how you manage the lines outside your door.
So,
Like, is it first come, first served? Do you do reservations or anything? I just noticed there's always a lot of people waiting to get in. You're very
right. So we
sought
are first come,
after.
first serve.
Yeah.
We don't take reservations. We need 1 person in the party to be able to put your name on the list. So we try to make it so we're seating people as they're there. I found in the past of my experience in restaurants, when you have reservations and you're a very busy place already, you end up holding open seats and kind of hurting your own business by trying to help certain people who have the reservations but that excludes the others. A lot of the time when you see people outside, it's because they are a large party though. So, you might see 8 people standing outside and I might be trying to figure out how I can squeeze a 4 and 2 2s together in the dining room. But a lot of the time I will have open parties for 2 or 4 or whatever. And so sometimes the lines get a little bit longer because of the large party size. We do have that little covered seating area outside. It has just like a couple chairs for especially the older folk to be able to sit down while they're waiting. But we just have that kind of little area and then just the sidewalk area.
And great presentation, and I really appreciate how you give back to the community. That touches my heart, and you do very well with that.
Thank
I
you so
appreciate
much.
that. So right now, we will move on to the public hearing. So I'm going to open the public hearing for this application. Is there anyone that would like to speak on behalf or in opposition to the application of George's Coffee Shop? Please raise your hand. I don't see anyone, so I will close the public hearing. So as I've told everyone before you, I know you've heard it, we're not making the decision tonight. We're gonna continue this conversation for next Tuesday. And I did get confirmation from Allison while you were speaking that the Declan's was published. So that date is affirmed for August 16th. So next Tuesday, we will open the public hearing for Declan's, and then the board will deliberate and come to a decision that night. So again, if there's any information you felt like you missed or didn't have an opportunity to say, if you want to submit something, you can email Allison and she will distribute it to the members, and we'll review that before Tuesday as well.
Perfect. Thank you all so much for your time. I appreciate you hearing our application.
Thank you very much.
Norbert.
Thank you.
Okay, it is 9:54 and we are on our last application. So Sunrise Chinese Restaurant, DBA Horizons Chinese Restaurant, located at 4 Rogers Street. I see we have 4 attendees, but I'm only seeing 3.
I just brought someone in.
Oh, you brought someone in, okay. Oh, you know what? I think I have something clicked that says if they're not showing their picture, I don't see them. How do I undo that? I can see, okay. Hi. Okay, so I know I'm gonna crucify that first name that's listed. So Rick, can you speak louder? And you and who's with you, state your name and address for the record?
All right, do you want to just pull this out? Okay, how's that? Is that any better?
Much better.
Okay. So this is.
My name is Bao Hongxie. The restaurant Sunrise Chinese Restaurant. I live in 510 Heights Capital Inn. The restaurant in the 4 Rogers Street in Gloucester.
Thank you. I'm just gonna adjust.
And my name is Rick Hossman, and I live at 4 Blueberry Lane in Gloucester. And I've been helping Ruby try to put together this entire application because, you know, she's challenged at the bureaucracy, and so she asked for my help, and I said yes.
Thank you, Rick. You're very kind. Hold on. Okay, let me just pull up the application. Hold on. Horizon. Okay, so.
Do you want to sit at the side and just put maybe on them?
She can't hear them.
Hold on, I'm just looking through the application.
Okay, let's try that. No, you just stay where you are. You'll just speak up.
He doesn't even know exactly. He got this job literally a year and a half ago, but he didn't graduate from school. So
Okay.
So your application, it appears that we do not have your green receipts to show that you notified abutters.
Allison. Those green receipts, we have one that was sent to Allison this afternoon.
The others were sent out, but there were no return cards. We've only gotten one return card so far.
And when did you send them out?
These were sent out on the 29th,
Right.
the day that it went out.
Okay. Thank you.
Allison has all their receipts.
Okay. Like I said, I know the mail service isn't as fast as we like sometimes, so I expect that there'd be issues with some of those, but at least you can confirm that they were sent out. Okay, tell us about your restaurant and why you want this license.
You want me to answer or do you want to answer?
I want to rec help me. I need the rec help me.
So we've discussed this, and Ruby believes that having a year-round liquor license is going to be able to increase her revenue during the winter months to help her be able to afford to keep her restaurant open. Ruby's been in this restaurant business for over 20 years. It's her only restaurant. It's everything to her. Being that she's part of the downtown economic opportunity zone, she's minority-owned business. Like I said, she's been in business for over 20 years, and she just believes that a year-round liquor license will help her make more money.
Okay.
It'll then increase, having another restaurant with a year-round license in the downtown area is just another reason to bring people downtown. And as we all know, that's one of the main priorities of the city, is to try and drum up and create more traffic to the downtown area. We can talk about the common good and the public want. Well, all restaurants that are open year-round in Gloucester is for the common good, and it is a public need and a public want for anyone to have a year-round liquor license because people want to come to Gloucester and they want to live in Gloucester and they want to go out to dinner in Gloucester. They don't want to have to go to Danvers or Beverly or Boston for that matter. They want to stay local, especially in the wintertime.
Thank you. Is there anything else you want to add before I ask questions?
We believe that Gloucester needs to reward the hardworking small businesses that have been here year after year after year. Ruby isn't coming to town to open a new restaurant. She's been here every single day in the trenches, basically living through COVID, trying to just get to the next day. Whereas a lot of these other applicants are coming in and are looking for new ventures and new business, which I love, which is amazing. But then again, we do need to reward the people that have been here the longest, in my opinion. So that's all. Anything else? That's all.
Okay. How many employees are employed at Horizon?
She's got over 10 employees.
10 employees? And what is the capacity in there? I know there's a lot of tables. I didn't see a bar when I was in there Sunday. Well, how many tables are in there, capacity to seat?
I think there's 35.
35? And what, the operational hours, you're open till 9:30 and 10:30 on weekends?
Yes.
And is that lunch as well, every day?
Well, she's open every day, 7 days a week, year round, regardless of whether she's got a liquor license or not. But due to staffing issues, she now needs to close on Tuesdays. So
okay.
As soon as the economy comes back, she plans on being open 7 days a week again.
Okay, yeah, many restaurants are having that struggle, so I can feel for you. And I hear they have an incredible takeout business. Their food is excellent. They have a good reputation in Gloucester. So is there anything different they would do if they got a year-round license?
Anything different?
Is there any changes to their business structure, or would it stay the same and just serve alcohol year-round?
It would serve alcohol year round, which then again would increase her foot traffic business into her restaurant, which is, you know, additional to her takeout business. So there really isn't any change.
Okay.
She might
And
stay
any-
open. She talked about staying open, you know, 30 minutes later, just to be able to have dinner till 10 on Saturday during the week, and then probably 11 on the weekends. But she hasn't really decided whether or not she can do that, again, based on staffing.
Okay. Any neighborhood complaints?
No.
No? Any police department interaction? Any issues with the police?
No police.
No, no police.
Are you in good standing with your vendors and billing and things like that?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Tell me if you know, what percentage of your sales are alcohol versus food? If you know that. If not, you can let us know at a later time.
What that mean?
She wants to know how much alcohol you sell versus how much food you sell.
Oh, I just control the people have just 2 cups like that. It's like that. My Thai, I just control like 2 times. That's all.
No, so
And with the food.
I'll have to explain to her
That's
what the
okay.
percentage.
Yep. Okay. So tell me, how would you describe your restaurant? How does it differentiate from other restaurants around you? Like, what is special about Horizon?
What that mean?
She wants to know what's special about you versus everybody else. That your Chinese food is the best.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Alison. Oh, sorry, Melissa.
Don't be
Yes.
sorry, I heard that from other people.
I think she's got a very prime location based on the amount of traffic that goes by every single day. She does a great lunch business. She does a great dinner business. She just wants to be able to do it all year round.
Okay. John Lamb,
She wants to
John.
be able to
Ovian.
compete with. She wants
Go
to be
ahead.
able to compete with the Embers and Oaks across the street and Drift upstairs and Minglewood down the street. I just believe that in this area, just having another, especially an ethnic restaurant, is just a beautiful advantage and addition.
Yeah, the people like the Chinese food in the Horizon, but they don't like it. We don't have alcohol. So wintertime, we don't have a good business because we're without alcohol.
Okay.
Rick, I missed some of that. Can you repeat it for me?
She just said that she loses business in the winter because people leave because she doesn't have alcohol to sell. So she's losing business.
John Orlando, do you have any questions?
Well, I've asked everybody the same question. I'm gonna ask it a little bit different. Ruby, you've been in business in the restaurant business for 20 years. How long in the spot that you're in now, and where were you before? How many years in the spot that you are now?
Oh, they're here like 5 years.
5 years on Roger Street?
Yeah, I own a business in the 5 years. The restaurant will be here 21 years.
Where was the other restaurant?
No, I said the Horizon, we have a 20 years history, but I own the restaurant 5 years.
So it's a family-run business that has just changed hands over the years, but it's been in business for over 20 years. And she's probably going to die in this business.
Well, I hope
Probably.
it's not in the next 5 years, because that's as far as I'm
Well, I
going.
hope you don't die in the next 5 years.
Okay. The other question I have is, I saw an invoice for liquor that was a very small amount. Was that just a small inventory for the beginning of August? I think it was dated. Can you explain a little more about what Melissa had started to ask, how much alcohol is sold?
Okay, so based on the receipts that you sent in, they want to know what, how much alcohol you sell.
That's because the COVID. Has a COVID, and not people coming in. I have a couple of months not a service on the table, so we don't have a alcohol service. That's why we don't have a small. We not have a alcohol income.
So the receipts that were submitted are from 2021. One is dated November 2021 and August 2021. So has there been any alcohol purchased since then?
No, we have some alcohol by the last year.
So did you
have
buy
leftover.
alcohol recently?
No, I just buy to that I have received. I have invoice. I not buy the store.
No.
Yeah.
The invoices that you gave me to
Yeah.
submit are from 2021. They need to be from 2022 of all the alcohol you're buying now.
I cannot find the last one.
She thought
I
thought
have
it was
one time,
2022.
but I can't find the.
Do you know about how much that bill was?
It's like just a one by one, just one case the beer, one like a Heineken. The two, I have a two case. I think two cases the Tsingtao and the Corona, and the Coors Light, Miller Lite. That's all.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah, because we have a small restaurant. We don't have a big space can save that.
So if we're looking for volume of how much business she's doing volume wise, it's volume for her restaurant, it's volume for her dining area. And again, the reason why she's coming to the board to ask for a year-round liquor license is so that she can be serving whatever alcohol she does sell year-round. You know, she doesn't have deep pockets like a bunch of other folks that are out there. She just wants to make a living, and this is an opportunity now for her to be able to make that living where it wasn't an opportunity for her to go and spend $120,000 on a liquor license. You know, so given the opportunity, she would be foolish not to be able to come to the board and ask for a year-round liquor license.
Okay, great. Thank you. John Lamron?
I think my only question is, if you were to get the license, would you reconsider, or would you consider adding a bar and changing the floor plan so you could fit more than 35 people, or would you keep the floor plan the same?
Well, I'm sure that's something that could be looked at. I guess after the first year of having the year-round liquor license, she would then see what kind of new revenue she has in order to, as opposed to just keeping her business going, then for her to be able to invest eventually into making that happen. I mean, that's what usually happens every 5 years with restaurants, is they go through some sort of a renovation period. So.
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak on behalf or in opposition to the application by Sunrise Chinese Restaurant, DBA Horizon Chinese Restaurant? Please raise your hands.
No.
Seeing none. we will close the public hearing. Okay, is there any last words you have to convince us why we should give you this year-round license?
Yes.
Last, anything you want to say to end it?
Maybe I can end it in some couple hours.
No.
For what?
She's, again, Ruby's been in this business for well over 20 years. It's a family-owned business. She took this over, I think it was from her cousin. She's there every day, regardless of whether they're open or not. She's a very hard-working woman, single woman, just trying to make a living. And again, this would greatly help her increase her revenue and make her life a little easier.
Okay.
Fucking goat down.
So, as you've heard me say several times, if there's any other information she wants to submit prior to our next meeting, you can email it to Allison. And we will be continuing our deliberation next Tuesday, starting at 6:30. We do have a couple things on the agenda, but not much, not like tonight. But we will be deliberating and hopefully coming to a resolution at next Tuesday. Any questions for us?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. See you later.
Okay. Moving on to new business. We have, no, I'm sorry, minutes. We have the minutes of June 14, 2022 and June 30th, 2022. Is there any corrections, deletions, changes that need to be made to the minutes before we approve them?
I did, I didn't have time to look at them.
Do you want a minute or do you want to put them on next Tuesday?
Did you look at them?
I did.
Okay, that's fine.
I didn't, did you see anything? I didn't see anything.
I didn't see any concerns. Nope.
No.
I move that we approve the minutes for 6/14/2022 and 6/30/2022.
I'll second that motion.
Any deliberation? Roll call vote?
Mr. Lamb,
Yes.
Mr. Orlando,
Yes.
Ms. Prince.
Yes. New business. I'll kill you.
Let's see, it's 10:16.
I think that's better than we thought.
I said,
did
I
all
said
right.
10:30, I said 10:35.
Yep, and you're wrong.
I closed my living room to my guests at 9:30 until 9:30, so I'm
Oh.
overdue.
Nobody's knocking on your door. That's good. That's a
No,
very cozy
nobody's
living
knocking.
room in there too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you all. I mean that in every sense of the word. We got through a meeting that I thought was gonna go till midnight that was actually quicker. We have a lot of information before us to consider. I
Yeah.
wish we had 5 licenses to give away,
I know.
because I think everyone did very well
Everyone,
in their
yeah.
reasoning. I think we have different applicants before us, so it's not going to be easy. And just to remind you, if you haven't had a chance to read those, the Valorant case and the information I sent you, just know that those are the considerations that have to be applied to this process as well. Anyone who does not get anyone who is not get the license has a right to appeal. So we have to be sure that we do our due diligence. I know this conversation on Tuesday is going to be really difficult because we all want to help businesses and every one of them needs our help in some way. But we only have 1 license to give away and we have to be very clear as to why we approve someone and why we're not. Because that goes into the record and those conversations will be captured and used if there is any further discussion about these licenses after we award it. So it's a tough one.
What happens if not all 3 of us agree?
Well, that's why I was saying, I hope we have a resolution next week because we have to keep doing the votes and deliberating and persuading each other until there's a decision. And I've been in meetings where it's taken, or I've witnessed a meeting by the city council where it took like 15 rounds before people finally started changing their mind and being convinced to be persuaded to an answer.
I'm sorry, go ahead, John.
So is our goal to do our own weighted average, our own spreadsheet that I sent out on what we feel after listening to these 5-6%?
Yeah.
And then we open it for discussion. Okay.
So that's why I want you to read the documents about public need and location and things like that, how they size can be taken into consideration and things like that. So be able to react to those qualifiers, because that's what's really supposed to be driving our decision, not our own personal preference.
Mhm.
And as long as we make a decision that is not arbitrary and capricious, is the legal language they use. In other words, we're not doing it, we're being open and honest about the process. We're not intentionally trying to steer the decision in a certain way because we know them, or anything arbitrary and capricious is what gets us in trouble. So read about that, which I don't see. I can honestly say I didn't see any of that tonight. But the next week, I don't know if any of us are going to be approached by anybody. You never know what can happen when these kind of decisions are lingering. So I would just strongly advise you to stay with what you know of tonight. If anybody has anything further to say, it probably should be said before the board as a whole, because I think we should all be entitled to the same information. No one should have any information that the others don't have. And before we leave tonight, I guess I would ask you both, is there any concerns you have? Is there any outreach to any city departments that we need to answer any questions you may have before you make this decision? Or do you have the information you think you need, besides the fact that Declan didn't have a public hearing, but as you saw tonight, no one spoke at any of the public hearings.
No one.
Which was interesting because, and surprising to be honest with you, from Rocky Neck, because usually there's someone down there that has to say something. So that's why I was checking the green receipts to make sure people were notified. And Allison has assured me that the notices were published in the newspaper. So we don't have any public acknowledgement, with the exception that the studio submitted a bunch of Gloucester resident. It was the same letter signed by different people in the community.
25, I counted.
How many?
25.
25, yeah. So, and that's supposed to persuade us as well, but so these are the things we're going to talk about next week.
Okay.
Like I said, it's probably going to be one of the toughest meetings we've ever had, because I know how genuine we all are in helping our businesses. And unfortunately, there's only one license to give.
And there's no way we can do it in person,
Do what in person?
the next week's meeting.
I have been told by City Hall that we are still doing Zoom meetings. We were meeting in person. We were told to go back to Zoom. So
Right.
here we are.
All right.
All righty.
If there
Lots to
is
think about.
anything that you need, if you're thinking about it, and I'm just going to remind you, we can't deliberate with ourselves over this outside of this meeting. But if there is any information you think you need, and you need me to help you get it, please let me know. Or Allison can help us. She still stays with us. I think she's overworked at this point. And Allison, if you do get any information, can you just share it with us by just forward the email to us? Anybody that sends anything, just forward it to us. Okay.
All right.
All right. Motion to adjourn?
So move.
And
And you'll what?
no, I didn't know you made the motion.
Roll call vote, Allison?
Yes.
Orlando,
Yes.
Prince.
Yes. 10:22, signing off.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night,
Nice work.
everyone.
See you later.
Bye-bye.